Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
You don't know history, you don't know wrestlers, you don't know matches.
My belly's just a little big, my hand is just a little big, but brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
There is no revolution.
You are truly the future of Lucha Underground.
I got it. How about a little heel turn?
And if they piss somebody, if they took somebody off here, well then, there goes their career.
Well, don't piss anybody off.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast where we review Monday Night Raw, but that's not all. We also give you the wrestling news of the week and some extra little goodies in there for you, as we usually do on the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The host of this show is myself, that beautiful voice gracing your ears at the start of this particular show that we're doing for you here today. It is, of course, Turbo Tony. That is my name. But of course, as always, you guys know how it all is by now. You know how it all is. I don't do this alone. I don't do this alone. I do this with my partner in crime. And that man has been banned by the Fine Bros from reacting to anything said on this podcast. It's Matt Marsander.
That is correct.
You're not allowed to react to anything, Matt, otherwise you'll get sued.
I am not allowed to react.
No, you're not allowed to.
I will maintain standard monotone throughout the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the only way that you're going to be able to get away from a lawsuit. So the show's going to be a little bit more boring for it. But hey, that's litigation, guys. Don't want to piss.
It's very similar, though, because I was talking with someone at work the other day about one of the Mass Effect races. Like, do you remember the one which is like, excited, I can't wait for this?
Yes, that's what the entirety of YouTube is going to become, because we're not allowed to react. That's it,
because you can't react to anything.
That's it. For people that might not know what we're talking about, this isn't... it's not wrestling, but it's actually quite funny because it's an interesting thought. But all those videos that you've got up of like teens react to blah blah blah, elders react to blah blah blah. The guy who created those videos tried to trademark reacting to things.
Which is the fact he tried to trademark the word react.
Yeah,
I was like, really?
Yeah, that's like Matt. Like if Vince McMahon wanted to trademark the word wrestling, right? It's like, what? How could you even go about doing that? That's so weird, but so strange. Oh, now obviously they haven't. So Matt, thank God you can react to things said on this.
Yay!
Fantastic.
That's a reaction.
That's always good stuff. So Matt, if the guys, if our fans, of course, want to join the interaction that we have going on with us at the moment, the main place for that is our Facebook account. That is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. Drop that Twitter hammer for me, Matt.
At Talk Wrestle Pod.
That is
Twitter hammer. You
drop it like it's hot. Snoop Dogg would be very, very jealous of the way that you just did that right now. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. Luckily, he can react to that stuff now. That's good stuff. And we've got a jam-packed episode for you there this week, guys. We've got the wrestling news of the week, as we said before, with some unfortunate news, which we're going to get into at the start of the show. We also have the fan feedback with some interesting drafts that we have left over from last week that we're going to get into. We've got the NXT report card, where we're going to be talking about NXT in general, and also casting our grading highlight over some fortunate or not so fortunate talent, shall we say? It matters who we pick. And of course we've got our Raw review, which has got a few interesting talking points over this week. First of all, before we get into it, Matt, I just want to say thank you to everyone that made those Lucha Underground reviews that we've been doing so successful. For people that may not know, the first episode that we did, the first review, has well over 1,000 views and is on its way to becoming our most viewed review that we've ever done on this channel, which is bonkers. We were not expecting that, but it looks like it's happened. We've got a few new subscribers, and if you're new to this section of our show, welcome. This is the main event. This is the main thing that we do each week, is the podcast. It kind of makes me feel weird, Matt, that we've got people listening to our Lucha reviews and subscribe for that. They may not even listen to these shows. It's kind of weird, but
so I don't need to hear about their Raw.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. They're just there for the... And you know what? That's fine, because we're going to be reviewing that every single week anyway. But apart from that, Matt, we have got plenty to get into. We could procrastinate even more, which everyone knows we like to do a little bit of that from time to time. But we have unfortunate news to talk about this week. And news that I put up on the Facebook page that was broken through Facebook, funny enough. And that's the unfortunate news that Bret the Hitman Hart, legendary pro wrestler, everyone knows this man, the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be, as stated on his, what I thought was an extremely well-worded and moving Facebook post, very lengthy, about him talking about the fact that he is now battling prostate cancer. And this obviously came out this week, him going through all of that. Matt, this hit me quite hard, as you probably would have expected, and some of our fans, because they know, I have said before, my favourite pro wrestler is Bret Hart, always has been. My favourite match of all time has Bret Hart in it, which is Bret Hart and Austin at WrestleMania 13. So it's a really, really awkward situation. It's a shitty situation, all to be involved in. As a kid, guys, I mean, some people might grow up nowadays in this generation and think of John Cena being the hero. When I was growing up, Bret Hart was my hero. He was the guy that I wanted to be, and the only guy that could pull off having pink and it'd be cool, in that era. It wasn't something that could happen, and he managed to do it. I thought the post he put up, Matt, did you read the entire post? Did you have time to
I did, yeah.
I thought it was so well worded, and Bret Hart as a guy doesn't have anything else that he needs to give to the world. His contributions have been noted, they've been logged, and they're respected and appreciated. So the fact that he's using this now, using himself as a conduit, shall we say, to bring awareness to the illness he has, that gives me even more respect. That's respect for Bret Hart the man, not Bret Hart the wrestler.
It's like I just enjoy. I like the fact that it was just a sort of, I'm not alone with this. Like, there are other people out there, but it's almost like, it's such a very
selfless thing.
Easily.
I feel selfish with this, Matt, because I want Bret to fight, and I want him to fight hard. I want him to fight well. I want him to get over this, and it's selfish because I just want him around. I want him to be with us for many, many, many more years. I know that's selfish of us, of me, and I know a lot of other fans probably feel the same way. But if he doesn't know already, and I very much doubt he's going to hear this, but if there's one thing that the wrestling fans can send a message to Bret right now, is that you have more people behind you and backing you in this new fight that you have than you probably can even fathom, right? You've got millions of fans around the globe, regardless of the fact that you haven't wrestled a match in God knows how long. You haven't been on Raw for God knows how long. Doesn't matter. All these fans are fans for life, right? All those weeks and years non-stop. Phenomenal matches, technical brilliance. We're fans, whether or not you want it or not, we're fans for life. That's just the way it is going to be, and we'll be fans through this new, this illness that he has. I sincerely hope that he does recover. In his post, he said that he called it early, which is good. I just, it felt like I got punched in the gut a little bit, which I don't think that was Bret's objective with it. He wanted to announce what he was going through and try and bring awareness to what he was going through to other people, which I thought was an amazing thing for him to do. Because, Matt, anyone in that situation, they have the right to be ultimately selfish. If they want to be selfish and do whatever the fuck they want, to me, they've got that right. If they want to live out the rest of their life doing all the things that they never did, that's completely fine, right? And they should be able to do that. The fact that he's using this as a conduit, like I said, I've always respected Bret as the wrestler. This gives me respect for him as a person, which I already had anyway, which is an awesome thing. So I hope to hell, and this is me being selfish, that he beats this. But it's turning into a bit of a shit year. You know, like over the course of this year, we've been seeing a lot of people, unfortunately, depart from us, and I don't know the situation surrounding Bret and time frames and how much he's been given, or the time frame where he's going to get better or stuff like this. But even about just hearing about this, Matt, it's just like, I don't know, I just get this feeling that 2016 just fucking sucks. Does it not feel that way so far? Literally,
yeah.
like from Christmas onwards, not a week goes by when we hear about one of these people that we idolize, you know, something bad happening to them, you know. So that's what is your most favourite Bret Hart match? Let's just say that now. What's your favourite? Well, everyone knows mine. I talk about it.
Bret and Bulldog.
Oh, what a pick! I like that one. Do you know what's interesting about that match, though? He almost blew out his knee.
Yeah.
During that match, and what a unique! I mean, just that being in Wembley. He's
probably a big part of it in the decision.
Yeah. One of my other favourite matches with him, Matt, is the one where he won the Intercontinental Championship from Mr. Perfect, and I love the story around that, where Perfect's back was basically shot. It was destroyed. He needed to go and get it sorted out.
Yeah.
But he did the match in what can only be described as excruciating pain because of his respect for Bret and him wanting to put him over and give him that championship win at SummerSlam. And
that's it.
Was it Bret and Owen in the steel cage? Oh, Matt, there's just too many to pick from. I've actually got a Bret Hart DVD, you know, one of the anthologies that you used to be able to buy, and the list of matches on there. It's a who's of phenomenal matches. It's spectacular stuff. So that's good there. In fact, what I may end up doing this week, Matt, is just going and watching fucking shit tons of Bret Hart
loads
matches.
of Bret footage.
Yeah, because it's all on the network. Just go look at it in there. Tons of them. Absolutely brilliant matches. To go to some good news here. Lucha Underground, Matt. Season 3. Is it coming? You're damn right it's coming. It's going to be coming this year, excuse me. And this news came out just after the first episode of Season 2 got released. It came out, well, just after that. I say the week after, because this came out just after we finished recording last week with another news story, which we're about to get into. And it's going to, they say it's going to end this year, so Matt, I imagine it's probably going to start up probably at the arse end of this year. Probably.
Yeah, or like September or something.
But they've got like close to like 30 episodes in this series, and that's like weekly, so that's 30 weeks, right? So in which case we're not going to have that much of a break before it starts.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not going to have another like 6-month hiatus or anything like that.
Which is fine, but part of me, Matt, is like a little bit like, I kind of like the break in a bit, because it makes it go, man, I got so excited for the start of season 2.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope they don't just go, oh, you know, here's a 2-week break and then season 3 starts. I like to give them a little bit of break. Treat us mean, Matt, to keep us keen. That's what it... Not WWE, which is beat us to the ground and, you know...
force us into submission.
Yeah, it's, you know, Lucha Underground's a dirty little tease. That's what they are. It's a tease, isn't it? Especially with the fact they only have an hour each week. It's just like, oh, I want more of you, Lucha. I really do, but you just keep leaving, you know? It's just the way it is. But what I like about this, Matt, is if you remember at the end of season 1, there was that huge ambiguity for quite a few months regarding whether the fact we were even going to get a season 2. At least now, the worries about whether or not it's going to be season 3, I mean, that's already dealt with. It's done. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and it must tell you something, Matt, about the popularity and how much El Rey sees that it can grow. The fact that they're willing to put money on it now, considering how early through the second season they're on.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, so that's all good news for Lucha Underground. I mean, there's no way you could take this as bad news if you're Lucha Underground. So, and I hear they're airing. They actually are going to be filming soon, the end of season 2, so they could have season 3 filmed in the middle of this year or something. You know, something along those lines, and go from there. So that'd be fun. It'd be good. I've done this in a little bit of... I tried to put this here and try to split it up because the news section this week is filled with news that isn't exactly warming to the heart, whereas that Lucha Underground stuff is indeed quite warming to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome Kong. Oh dear. She got herself in a bit of trouble this week, Matt. Now, TNA are doing the rounds in England, which if you don't know, TNA does pretty good business in England. They've always done good business in England. In fact,
Yeah.
it's quite strange, Matt, when you watch some of their shows in England and they're in these large arenas, and then they go back to the States and they're in arenas that, they can't even sell out 200 seats, right? And they go to England, they can sell out fucking... They had one set for Wembley, Wembley Stadium, which not the stadium,
Arena.
the arena, sorry.
Like where they had NXT, yeah.
Yeah, and they could fill that out as long as far as I believe. So they do really good stuff there, which is good for them, but it's not all good news. And they've had to deal with a situation. And how much of what happened do you know, Matt? How much of the reports did you...
I know that there's 2 stories floating around.
Yeah.
But I don't know a great deal of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of like she said sort of thing at the moment.
Yeah.
It's 2 different ways. Either way, to me, Matt, no matter what the story is, I think TNA did the right decision, and I'll get to that in a minute. So basically, a backstage altercation, shall we say, involving Awesome Kong and Matt Hardy's wife, Reby Sky, which, just a small note here, I thought she was drop dead gorgeous, but I watched her in a video package this week, and I wondered what the fuck happened to her. I really did. I was like, what have you injected into your face? Because you were drop dead gorgeous. What happened, right? She looks more like Dixie Carter than she used to look back in those, back in those days, which is not good, right? Anyway, back to the matter at hand. Apparently, Matt, the story is that Kong wanted Reby Sky to get dressed in the hallway, not with the rest of the talent in the locker room.
Yeah.
And she refused. Now, they're doing this thing at the moment where Sky's coming out with her, I think it's like Matt Hardy's, their baby, and all this. Apparently, there was a physical interaction, shall we say, because, like I said, the story isn't quite heard of what's happened, between the 2, with Kong wanting her to leave, right? While her child was overlooking and all this sort of stuff, which is not good, even though the child is quite young, but still. And apparently this stems from comments that were made from one side to the other maybe a long time back. So this isn't something that just randomly popped up. Clearly this has been something building. Maybe, Kong, Awesome Kong's been sitting in the locker room watching this woman get dressed. Maybe he just doesn't have any respect for her. Bottled up, and she lashed out. That's how I perceive it to have happened anyway.
Yeah.
Now, from this, TNA have fired Awesome Kong. She's gone. She's been released. And Matt, people probably expecting me, oh, here he goes, Tony. Here he goes. We're waiting for it. Tony's going to slam TNA, because I do a lot of that on this show, as everyone knows. Matt, you probably know what's coming. I think that they did exactly the right thing. I don't think they had any other choice on the card.
Yeah.
They had to fire her. Are you under the same sort of thought?
Well, and it wasn't even... Well, it's the fact that you hear that it wasn't even sort of like a verbal altercation. Like, it turned into a physical altercation.
Yeah. Oh, it's something physical definitely happened. Enough that TNA felt so strongly that they had to send the woman home and can her when she got back.
Yeah.
Which is the longevity of it. Some people are going on TNA and they're going, oh, why did you do this? Why could you not sort this out? If this is the case, I can't see the way that the only way I can see this happening is Kong going for it. The minute that she even puts her hands on someone else, then TNA have to get involved and they have to set a precedence, which is firing her. To be honest, I think, Matt, Awesome Kong gave TNA no other choice, even if they wanted to keep her there. They had to fire her once this was done, and I can't. TNA did the right thing. I wouldn't say TNA did the right thing. They literally had no choice. They had to do it. That's the way that I look at it here. And it's the same thing, Matt, that people might say, well, maybe Kong has some sort of reason, right? Maybe she is in the moral high ground, even though none of us are going to know exactly what was said and exactly what was done in that locker room. But even with, I equate this, Matt, to, remember when Del Rio got released by WWE for slapping a guy for making racist comments backstage?
Yes.
Even then, right, even though I would have shook his hand afterwards and said, fair play to you, I still say that he gave WWE no choice but to fire him as well, right? He's physically assaulted someone else, right? And there's more professional ways to deal with that problem. And obviously it's gone fine for him now. He's got his new deal. Apparently he's getting paid a ton of cash. He's happy as Larry, whatever. But it's the same thing. It doesn't matter how much you're right or how much you think you're right. There's more professional ways to get the job done. You don't just go around assaulting people. It's not... Maybe back in the day, Matt, in the 80s, the 70s, you could do that.
Say, how are you going to settle it? Settle it physically?
Yeah.
It doesn't really stand nowadays.
No, the world has changed, right? And that's just the way it is. But yeah, to be honest, except in this situation, it's a bad situation. Because TNA get flack for this. When I'll just stick up for them once in a blue moon here. I don't think they deserve the flack that they're getting for this, because it's what are they supposed to do? They can't have guards stopping their talent. They expect their talent to have professionalism, and in this case, they didn't, right? And so people pay the consequences for that. That's just the brunt of it there. So interesting to see what other people think of that. But like I said,
now we can have Kong come back to just eat the Bellas.
No, I don't think. I think after this, WWE is going to.
Oh no, I don't think they would have done anything either. But I still want it.
Yeah, and you know what? Kong's going to do fine on the indies. People still hire her and shit, so that's fine.
Oh yeah.
To another bit of sad news, to a guy who got released and didn't exactly do anything that bizarre to warrant it, but in the same breath, I can see exactly why he was released. Bull Dempsey is gone from NXT. He was released this week. He put out on his Twitter that has to happen, and he's put up his email for booking, so he's available for independent booking. And Matt, this is a news story that, to be honest, I could see coming. I thought this was only a matter of time.
But the thing is, he's not the only person to have been released.
Who else was released?
Oh crap! Like I just had the name on the tip of my tongue. The French matey.
Oh, Sylvester Lefort.
And the other guy.
Oh, Marcus Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, they're gone as well. And like I said, even with them, I could see it coming. When was the last time that they were?
Apparently, one of them was working like as a manager of one of the women on live events. It's like, oh, well, that's off to a strong start for you, isn't it?
Yeah, clearly it didn't work that well, and they got rid of him. And, like I said, these guys, they haven't been used for a while. When WWE are bringing in talent like, you know, Shinsuke Nakamura and, you know, Samoa Joe and Austin Aries, it's going to make those slots and windows for these guys that, you know,
so much smaller.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot smaller. Like Tyler Breeze, if he had the problems in his early career now rather than when he had them like a couple of years ago, he probably would have got canned too, right? Because they've got less time to give these guys to come good, right? You know, NXT's now a drawing promotion, right? It makes money for WWE. They go on tours. But let's talk about Paul Dempsey, Matt. People may be shocked at this because they're like, oh, well, he was at NXT like this week, right? Even though those tapings were done a while back. I mean, he tried, when he first came in, they were trying to make him look like, they were going with like the badass sort of thing where he could kick people's asses. For me, one, he never looked like a badass. He's got too much of a happy face, right?
Well, it wasn't so much of a badass. He was the throwback, wasn't he?
Even then, like, yeah, I just thought that his build never really. I mean, that's funny considering he did the bull fit thing afterwards, but his build never really wasn't exactly intimidating, right? Samoa Joe, like, hasn't got the intimidating build, but he looks intimidating when he comes out, right? All you have to do is look at his face and think, I don't want to fuck with this guy. With Paul Dempsey, it's like, you're not really going to hurt me, are you? And they made a comedy gimmick out of him, but when that's the fullest potential you can get out of him, which is, to be honest, guys, low card on NXT, the WWE should be getting rid of the chaff. And I mean this. I mean this. That sounds really bad, but they're a company. If they don't feel like you're going to make money for them, why keep investing in you, right? And it's really the black and white of it. I know it sucks.
That's it.
But come on, like, if they've given you time and they've tried to train you and they've tried to give you a gimmick and it just hasn't got over and it hasn't worked and they can't figure out how to do it for whatever reason, then they should get rid of you, right? That's the way it is. There's the business. Maybe you can go and find a gimmick that works on the indies and it works fine. And look at AJ Styles, right? He tried out for WWE years ago, didn't work, and he had to go and do his thing on the indies and become a huge international star. They make tons of money, find his own path. Maybe some of these people have to do the same, you know. But whether or not that'll happen, I don't think that will happen with Paul Dempsey, but still.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I can go as far to say I'm not going to miss Paul Dempsey.
Yeah, I think to me he's almost like CJ Parker. CJ Parker has retired from wrestling, as far as I know. He said he's not doing it anymore, so he stopped, right? And he actually did a show not far from my house. He actually went to Ireland and did a show in Cork. But it's one of those things where, like, WWE is the destination, and once you've tasted some of the necessity, or not necessity, some of the luxuries is the better word.
It's like the dizzying highs sort of thing.
Yeah, it's hard to then, and then you're wrestling in front of the Full Sail crowd. You get, in this great arena, and you're wrestling every day in this awesome, up-to-date performance center. You get canned by WWE, and then suddenly the only way you can go back up is by wrestling in front of 20 people in a gymnasium. Some people just aren't cut out for that. Some people are like, well, I'm never going to get back up there. Like, look where I am now. Like, there's no point me doing this. I don't want to drive to all these places. And they just go, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done with wrestling. I'll move on to something else. And all good luck to them. But still, we'll see how it goes from there. So that's our news for this week, unless you've got any other news stories to drop on me.
No.
Snoop Marsander. Oh, yeah, I said that. Yeah. Yeah.
Way to make me feel dirty.
Oh, Snoop Dogg's pretty badass. Yeah. Yeah. You like to drop it like it's hot, like we said at the start, with that Twitter handle. Yeah.
On Twizzle or whatever.
Yeah, sure. I think we're going on a tangent here that not even I know where we're going, and I'm the one who took us there, so we better get back on track. For all the new guys watching this show, that's the sort of shit we do. Just, you have to get used to it. So, anyway. Fan feedback, Matt. We start with a couple of versus questions against each other. Oh, yes. Indeed. From last week that we said we're going to do this week. We remember, Matt. We always remember. And the first of which is TNA versus WWE. Now, Matt, we're going to do this as matches. So these will be matches on like a card. People can say whether or not they would like the card or not. So who is your first WWE guy on your list? That's going
to take on your first TNA guy?
Yeah, that's it.
I have gone with Kevin Owens.
Really? You didn't go for someone like John Cena or something like that? Well, he's not around. Okay, I went with EC3. That would be an interesting match. That'd be a match I'd like to see, actually.
Fair enough.
Right.
I was going to say, if we were going as like, I almost structured it as like the first match of the night.
Oh.
Or sort of like as a main event, but okay. Yeah, whatever.
Well, okay, well, still, go on.
To be fair, we could have Kevin Owens versus EC3 as a main event.
Yeah, go. All right, crack on. Number two.
Number two?
Mm-hmm.
I want Rollins. But he's injured.
Okay. So who are you going for?
Ambrose.
Ambrose. Oh, wow. I went for Jeff Hardy. Ambrose versus Jeff Hardy.
Be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, your third one?
My third one being Big Show, because if I was WWE doing the booking, of course they'll send Big Show.
Okay, I thought you'd go with someone like Lesnar, but that's fine. Big Show, I would put Big Show up against Bobby Lashley.
I'll change my answer. Can we have Lesnar versus Lashley?
Oh, you could do the Lesnar next, if you like. Yeah.
Because Lesnar is obviously on the list. He's Brock fucking Lesnar.
Right. So is that your fourth pick, is it, Lesnar?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go Kurt Angle against Brock Lesnar because of the history there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's it. You could play on the history, maybe. I know. Kurt Angle will get killed, but fair enough. Your last pick.
Last pick would be Reigns.
Reigns will be going up against Bobby Roode. So that's my pick there. Interesting matches. Of course, they'll never happen. And, but yeah.
Just that whole dream. It's like dream booking, isn't it?
Yeah. One thing I'll say.
I say dream booking. I don't dream for those matches.
I still would like to see EC3 built up as he is now back in WWE once all things are said and done. But obviously that's not going to happen. But still. But yeah, there's an event for you. And the other one we've got is the NXT Survivor Series draft. Matt, you've gone face. I've gone heel. What have you got for your first face?
First face, obviously, comes in the form of the Demon, Finn Balor.
The champion. No, that's
the champion.
Something a little bit bad on myself. I mean, there isn't that many good heels built up the same way that the faces are in NXT, just the way that the show is designed. And they're really, I mean, look at the way that Balor's been booked. He is a champion among champions, right? He's just beating everyone that comes across to him, which a champion should be. But my first one obviously had to be Samoa Joe. So
yep, that's a fair call.
You know, he would be the team leader because he's Samoa Joe, and anyone that wants to stamp over him is free to try against Samoa Joe. So
yeah.
There we go. What's your second one?
My second one would be, well, unfortunately, it would have to be Cruz. I say unfortunately, it would still be good.
Yeah, it'd still be good, but I think I've got you on this one, because I'm going with Baron Corbin, who beat Cruz at NXT TakeOver London.
Who is better, yeah.
So I think we're 1-1 so far. We're 1-1. Who's your next?
My next one would be Zayn.
Zayn, okay. You definitely won this one. Well, I could give you my next two, because they're a tag team. Dash and Dawson. I went with them. The tag team.
Okay, well that works, because my next two were the tag team of Enzo and Cass.
Enzo and Cass. Well, Dash and Dawson did beat Enzo and Cass recently, so I'm going to give myself that one. You've definitely got... So what is you got Zayn, who would be your last one then?
Yes.
Well, you've completely trounced my fifth one. When I was thinking of other heels, you had Blake and Murphy, and I was like, no, not having them. I was like, you could have Ty Dillinger. I was like, but he is by nature a jobber. I don't think he's won a match since he's come back. And I was trying to stretch it, and I was like, but Matt, can you not give me that Hideo Itami would be heel when he comes back? But I mean, that is so stretchy. That's even guessing. You can't really give that. He was face when he got injured, so he's still face. It's really, maybe I'm missing some guy, but I had to go with Alex Riley. As
Alex Riley's not heel.
He is heel as of this week. So
okay,
I had to go with Alex Riley.
This is sort of where it stands that I haven't watched it this week.
Yeah. And people might go the Vaude villains, but the way they wrestled this week, I didn't even think they were that heel this week. So yeah, and people might go, "Oh, what about these other people?" I mean, it's the only person I could think of. Matt, I'm just going to give it to you now.
To be fair, we were talking about this, and the face and the heels, the ones that are definitive. He is heel. He is face.
Yeah,
it's a bit vague.
Yeah,
what's Elias Sampson?
Yeah, but I mean, even then, I wouldn't put him in that team. You know, I don't know.
Oh,
maybe I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, the way that NXT does their work anyway is that they like to build up the faces so people can get behind them, and then they send them up. That's just the way that they like to run the show, and I don't disagree with that. But when it comes to trying to draft a face and heel team together, I mean, that face team is going. I mean, Matt, when Dallas happens, you've then got to pick Austin Aries and Nakamura on a face team with you. It just becomes so overboard.
Oh, that would be 100%.
Yeah,
that's like Enzo and Cass slot filled.
Yeah. And then it's just dominant. So really,
it would be the Indie Darling team.
It really would, wouldn't it? It would absolutely be that. But even then, they would still trounce the team that I have. NXT needs some heels, man. They do. They need some more heels. That's what I'd say. And heels, they tend to use.
I don't know. I think they've got solid. They have solid heels.
They need a few more of them just for this draft, Matt. That's what they do. Okay, that's the only thing. I tell you what was good was about the women's division on NXT. They've got tons of decent heels on that. They've got
decent heels.
Emma. They've got Nia Jax, who I think is decent. So there's a few more there that you could probably play with, but still. Moving on to the other questions for the ones that happened on this week. First, the Facebook questions. Liam Cook asks, what do we think of JBL as a host? He's seen the Legends program, but he's still a little bit unsure about him as a host. Now, obviously, this is him as a host in terms of doing interviews and stuff like that. Have you watched any of the Legends with JBL?
I haven't. I know, that's a lie. I watched one where they were going on about Taker.
Oh, and they had like Austin and
Austin, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, yeah.
I watched one this week with Ron Simmons, and I urge everyone to go watch it. I thought it was very, very good. I love the fact that in every single episode, Matt, it's hilarious. JBL, through hell or high water, he will find 5 minutes to slam Vince Russo. He'll go on a weird tangent. He will bring it up out of nowhere, but he will. And he'll get the other person to do it as well. Every single episode he does of that show, I don't know if Russo's called him out or said he's shit or something like that recently. JBL has it out for the guy. He's completely like, this guy is going to be like the worst thing ever. Back to the question. He's far better as a host than he is a commentator. I will say that. I think, though, however, when he does like the interviews, Matt, with Ron Simmons, and you'll notice this when you watch it, he's far better when he's interviewing someone of the same time frame of their career matches his. Because then he can talk about things, and he gets animated, he gets excited, he wants other people's thoughts. He is yet to interview someone, you know, like that of relevant of today, right? And I don't think he would get as good of an interview.
To sort of go on, sort of to refer back to like that Stone Cold one with Paige sort of thing. Is that the sort of what you were thinking?
Yeah, I mean, even Austin to that degree wasn't fantastic in that role, but I think JBL, I mean, he's good with these guys because they're people he knows, right? It's people that he's had interactions before, and especially with the Ron Simmons one, obviously the history given between them, you'd expect it to be good, and it was. I will say it's very, very good. Yeah, he is a better host than he is a commentator, but that's not hard to beat. And
I was going to say he is the worst commentator. So
yeah, to me, he's the worst that WWE have got, and there's no changing him as well. You can't tell him. I don't think you could teach him a new style of commentary.
I think they should just get rid of him and bring Corey Graves.
Yeah, to be honest. But I mean, we've been saying that. I mean, we've been riding that horse all the years that Graves has been on commentary. We've been saying that. But what do you think, Matt? I mean, you've seen him only slightly as a host.
I don't mind him.
He's okay.
Like he's a host of a talk show. What more can I say? He'll ask questions. He won't be annoying about it, and then that'll be that.
And he'll slam Vince Russo. That's exactly.
And he'll slam Vince Russo, which is fine.
Yeah.
Bro.
I was like, at the end of the day, I put it up on our Facebook, and I was just like, at the end of the day, like, it's quite funny that he keeps doing it, but I can't really blame him in the same way. Like, I'm like, it's just what he's doing at the end of the day. So.
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
But bruh.
Moving on, Alex from Wrestling Boom says, do one of us guys fancy doing a guest article for his blog? I can only speak for myself, and I have to say that at the moment, mate, I am absolutely swamped. I can't do much apart from that. I'm trying to get a lot of things going, especially with the Lucha Underground stuff. However, if you do want to put up the article I wrote on our Facebook page, as long as it's credited, knock yourself out. Don't really mind at all. What about you, Matt? Do you fancy writing up a few articles every now and then?
I barely found time to watch Raw this week, so currently no.
It's just because of the Lucha Underground reviews. That's the only reason, Alex, why I'm so swamped nowadays. It means now that I've had to change my entire weekly schedule around doing the Lucha Underground reviews, because the Thursdays now for me are hectic. They're crazy. And that's the only reason why. But if you wanna credit that and put that up on there, I've got no problem. It's said here on the show. I don't have a problem with it. To be honest, I don't. As long as it's got a link to, the podcast and shit. I don't care where you share it. That's the same to anyone. If we do any articles or anything along those lines, just as long as it gets credited back, I don't give a shit. Just share it off. I don't really mind. On articles, not off videos, of course, because I don't want to eventually one of those people. You get like YouTubers and stuff that they do their stuff. Someone copies it and just makes a separate account, and then they end up getting the views. And we would like to get funding for this channel, and people viewing our stuff, not copied shit, would be best. But with articles and stuff, you don't get any monetization on that. Just knock yourself out. His actual question, however, is if Roman Reigns turned heel, how would we book his first 2 rivalries? And I know exactly how I'd book his first 2 rivalries. I wouldn't have talked about Roman Reigns going heel without having some sort of idea of where I would take it. So I'm going to say it, Matt, and I'm going to ask you whether or not you think this would be a good way to go if Reigns went heel. If you don't mind, of course. You know, I like you evaluating my creative ideas.
I have an idea for his first rivalry.
Well, you go.
Cement it.
You go first. Then you go first. So how would he turn heel? Because his heel turn would be his first rivalry, wouldn't it? It would be a first storyline.
He'd have to screw over Ambrose.
Yeah, I've done exactly the same. Quite funny how we thought that.
That's it. Like, I don't think there's another way for it to truly happen.
Yeah. I like the idea, you know, when they had that finals match to crown the new champion before Sheamus cashed in and all that lot. I like the idea of doing something along the lines of that, where maybe Ambrose, you know, let's say after WrestleMania and you really want to turn Reigns heel because people are turning against him. And you've got Ambrose wins the number 1 contendership and he's going to wrestle Reigns at the next pay-per-view, which is Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
And you have people that come in and they interfere in the match and they cost Dean Ambrose the match. And, you know, you've got Reigns coming across like, I'm sorry that happened, man. Listen, I'll give you another title shot. You know, like, I don't know why they got involved. You know, and you subtly plant in that.
You know, it's not my doing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You deserve an opportunity. You're my brother.
Yeah. You know, like, I've got your back, mate. Listen, it sucked. Let's do this again. Let's give you what you deserve. You didn't deserve to end that way. And slowly over the course of that month that you build up to the next event, you plant little seeds that maybe Roman isn't exactly being entirely sincere when he's saying that he didn't know everything that was going on. And then at that pay-per-view is the heel turn. Instead of it being an upstanding match, Reigns goes ballistic. Like, he's just like, yeah, it was me. I did all of this. I'm not going to let you steal my championship. You can even make it a very uncomfortable beatdown of. I mean, if anyone knows how much of a beating Dean Ambrose needs to stay down, it's Roman Reigns, right? He knows he was his brother. And that would instantly turn him heel because everyone loves Dean Ambrose. The second one, however, so once he's dealt with Dean Ambrose, you can even write him off for a while, have that great comeback story with Dean Ambrose if you wanted to be that big face coming back, is that you've got... What would be the one thing that maybe would have turned Reigns heel? What would be the one thing that makes him snap? Throughout all the things that he's done, all the matches, putting his body on the line, he was never truly accepted by the fans, right? And you could do that thing where you could have a good promo with him where he's going, you never accepted me. I did everything you asked me to do, and you keep booing me. Right? I tried to be successful. I tried to win the championship. I tried to fight against the authority, and you didn't want me to win. What is wrong with you people? Do I have to, you know? And this is the whole thing that he turns against everyone, right? So then, Matt, his next storyline is he starts going after people that the fans have accepted. I'm talking AJ Styles, people like that, people that they...
So basically similar to when Sheamus came back and was beating up the little guys.
Sort of, but along the lines of, you loved this guy when he came in, didn't you? I'll tell you how much you're going to love him after I end his career, right? I'm going to show you what your lack of appreciation to me gets you. I'm going to take away the people that you do like, right? And that could be really good, because then that's what heels do, don't they? They go after the people that the fans like, and you could make him such a great heel if you were to do that. So they're your two things. You could have matches against like Ziggler, Kalisto. He doesn't even have to get in bed with the authority to do these things. He just becomes a very vindictive, very bitter man who knows that he can hurt people, right? And he's going to take it out on them. There you go. Roman Reigns is a heel. I don't think that would work perfectly. I don't know how to say his name. W4RD, or that's Wardy, I don't know. 96 says, if we could repackage 3 of the lower card, how would we do it? This is a big question because you put up a few instances here of people kind of reverting back to the gimmick that they had before, like Sandow going back to his old gimmick and stuff like that. Going back to your old gimmick, it to me isn't a repackage, and I don't think most of the time going back to your old gimmick works. Are you under the same sort of association?
I think Sandow could work going back to his old gimmick, but yeah, I completely agree.
Sandow could make the. Funny enough, my whole thing is Sandow here. Sandow could turn shit into gold. He already did it, right? He did it with that whole Miz thing. That Miz thing was not meant to get Damien Sandow over, but he managed it. I don't know how. Some dark magic he did. I don't know, but he did it.
Just the cheer at Mania was ridiculous.
And they did nothing with it, Matt.
That was it.
It was so bad. Here we go, Matt. I'm going to repackage Damien Sandow. I'm only going to do one because we've got lots of. You asked for 3 guys. This is a big question, and I could spend like an hour on it. So I'm only going to do one to give everyone else time. And I wonder how you think of this, Matt. I thought WWE, Matt, missed the mark with Damien Sandow. Do you remember when he came out in just the jeans and the black T-shirt? He got the mic and he spoke from the heart. He was very genuine, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about him missing out, him not really going on the right path that he thought he was, but the fans getting behind him anyway. And if you remember, I can't remember who it was. It was Curtis Axel. He came into the ring with the Axelmania stuff, and then suddenly, almost like a light switch gone. He wasn't genuine anymore. He turned back into being the goofy Damien.
Macho, and the birth of Macho Mandow.
Yeah. And I thought WWE, they were onto something there. They were onto something, and they missed it. They didn't see what was in front of them, and they moved off with something that clearly they weren't that interested in. In this landscape of WWE, and this may seem like a cop-out answer, but believe me, I think this is firmly true. In this landscape where you've got all these over-the-top gimmicks, you've got Stardust hissing at people, yeah, you've got Goldust doing essentially the same thing, right? You've got R-Truth, who still is a bit weird and just doesn't know how to manage his time correctly. You've got divas who get annoyed at each other because they unfollowed each other on social media. In this reality era that we're supposed to be in, no one seems like they are in reality, and that's part of a problem. Why not be Damien Sandow, be the common man? He would come out and he would act as he would do, as you can even call him his real name if you wanted to. He is him, and he can cut promos just being 100% genuine. He's not going out and saying, "Oh, I'm going to beat this guy because he's going to be like, look, I hope my career gets back on track. I'm hoping this win, can do it for me, and hopefully with the fans behind me, I can, almost his lack of being over the top would be his gimmick. It would actually, funny enough, him not standing out would make him stand out.
Yeah, agreed.
So make him the common guy. Make him the common man that everyone can use him as a blank canvas for our success. Everyone could think of, well, if this guy can make it and he's just being himself, why not? Why not go with that? Yeah, that's what I would do with him. I thought, literally, even if he does all of his stuff and just, like I said, that jeans and that black T-shirt, he could wrestle in just very regular gear and almost be very, very generic, but just be very honest and very genuine. Even make him write his own promos with the emphasis on it being not what do I think Damien Sandow would say? What do I think my name would say? What would I say if this was me going in without any sort of character? And honestly, I think you can't deal with that with everyone because then it doesn't stand out. But if you do it just with him, I'm sure that people would get behind him, and people were willing to get behind him with all the wacky stuff he was doing anyway. So imagine that if he came off that way. So that's what I would do. Have you got any other answer for that, Matt?
No, I don't particularly like to go without going all off into it. No, I can't think of a better way to sort of salvage him.
Yeah, I think one of those things with WWE, sometimes they overcomplicate things. And then they don't give us, they give us the story of Stardust. Apparently he's addicted to stars and stuff. There's no background on him and all this sort of shit.
Other than that, he's Goldust's brother.
Yeah, right. That he became
which is pretty much just like a guaranteed. He's weird.
Yeah, but there's so much more they could do. That sometimes to get something over and get something connecting with the fan base, you don't have to overcomplicate it. Sometimes you go back to the very, very basics. And when I'm talking common man, I'm not even thinking Dusty Rhodes, because Dusty Rhodes, funny enough, when he was the common man, he was nothing but common, right? He was he came across that way and he would fight for the working man, but no common man had the silver tongue he had, right? That's just, you know what I mean?
If he was truly a common man, how did he wine and dine with kings and queens?
Yeah, you know, like, so yeah, you make him very, you know...
Humble.
So, very humble, yeah. So that's the way I'd go with it. But. Rico Quepens asks, why doesn't WWE turn Ryback heel? He's one of the most boring faces on the roster, and he's just a baby Brock Lesnar. Well, someone needs to get this guy more penis pills then, so that way he can really stack up to Lesnar. If anyone knows what I'm talking about with the... I urge you, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch the Table for Three with Daniel Bryan and Ryback. And I think Ziggler is in that one as well. I'm pretty sure it is. Or is it someone else?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is Ziggler, yeah.
IC Champions.
There's just a point in that where they're talking about... something about penis pills and Ryback, and it is hilarious. And just Daniel Bryan just fucking cracking up over it. It's so funny. It's brilliant stuff. But anyway, getting back to the crux of the question, man. What do you think? Turn Ryback heel?
I haven't got a problem with it, depending on what sort of heel they turn him into.
What do you mean?
I don't want the bully anymore.
Yeah, I think that was...
That got old quick, especially considering don't be a bully, be a star. Ha! You're a little person. Throw you through a table.
Yeah, that's right. You know, like, here's the thing with Ryback, man. I feel like you can make him face, you can make him heel. I think the damage has been done. I think the damage was done to Ryback when he lost a year's worth of pay-per-views back to back.
Oh, have you seen his new attire that he debuted on SmackDown?
What, the Goldberg attire? He's not really...
The black.
Yeah. He literally took Goldberg's attire. I don't know why he does this to himself, you know, in that situation. But maybe it'd be one of those things like, you know, like Dolph Ziggler came out with brown hair once, and then like the week after he was back to fucking beach blonde. He just one of those things that you try on the off chance, but you're not really happy about. Do you remember that when Ziggler came out with the brown hair and the look on his face? It looked like his mum had forced him to do it, and he was very upset with it. He was not a happy bunny. But it didn't last for very long. I think what's funny about this, Matt, is that you can turn him heel, you can turn him face. I don't think it matters much anymore, because WWE have shown if they want to, they can make him feel like a big hot commodity, but they don't. They don't want him.
But
to
they
be
don't want to.
That's right. In order to be entertaining now, sure you can give him a heel turn, but I mean no one's really going to take him that seriously. And I always think he's going to be a better face than he is a heel. But I know people are going to kill me. Some of the longer fans of Let's Talk Wrestling, we've already done this conversation. But that week leading up to Survivor Series 2014, you know, the one where Ryback, you know, was like the hot commodity. They had like 1 week where they treated this guy like he was the fucking, like the nuts, right? Matt, the authority were tripping over themselves trying to get this guy on board, right? They were doing everything they can to sign Ryback onto their team. He came off like the
they made it out like if Ryback wasn't on your team, you were going to lose.
Yeah. Right, and what's quite ironic about that is that he got eliminated like extremely easy right afterwards. So for 1 week they showed him how you could book Ryback, and then they literally a couple of weeks later after at the actual event just kind of forgot what they wanted to do, and that's really where they went with it. So maybe I'm a bit cynical, but I think that WWE have already missed their opportunity to do anything special with the guy, and I think turn him heel, turn him face, doesn't really matter. I think he's going to be what he is, nothing more, nothing less. I'm a little bit sad. I think they could have made a star out of him, you know, even if it was too early in his career. But there's no reason why you should stunt a guy's growth, you know, if he could become a star, because now he's got the mid card mediocrity on him.
Oh yeah, he's the mid card meathead.
That's exactly what he is. Sometimes he even struggles to stay in the mid card, which is quite sad for the guy, but still. Kane St. Dennis, who I believe needs extra props, Matt, for his questions. I think he's been on form, Kane. I think he's been... I need to give him just extra props. Matt, will you give this guy an audible high five right now?
An audible high five?
I don't know how you do it, but do it. Yeah. Have you done it?
I guess, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, you may have heard the wind past the mic, but I don't know.
Well, there you go. It's done. Okay, so it's done. But his question this week, I thought, was a doozy, a haymaker. was a Matt, I'm going to do it. It's a humdinger of a question. I haven't done that for a while. That felt good. I like to. I need to do that more often, Matt. I really do. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. Matt, you don't know how soothing and therapeutic it is to say that word in that manner. Anyway, going to his question, he asks Matt's all interested now. He's like, what the fuck is this question?
I'm curious.
He says, if we had a time travel machine or time travel abilities, I've already piqued your interest there, and could go back to be live at any wrestling event in history, where would we go? Oh, I shake your hand on this question. This is the ideas, Matt. Any wrestling in history that you could attend live, where would you like to be? I've got like 10.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem because I'm like, I'd love to, like Mania 1.
Just to be there for the beginning of it, right?
Yeah. To know what it would then become and things like that.
One of my early ones was Mania 3, to be there when Hogan body slammed Andre.
Yes.
I know that match wasn't great, but you had like fucking the Hart Foundation, doing tag team matches at the start of that, and there were other good stuff there as well, so that was fun. But just be there for that moment. That's a moment that still is remembered by lots of people as being one of the huge moments of wrestling, so to be there for that. To go one that isn't Mania, to be in the Chicago crowd for Money in the Bank 2011.
Where Punk left.
Yep.
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been fun? To be in the crowd, Matt. This is one that once I thought of it, I was like, yes.
Take over Brooklyn.
Yeah, would have loved to have been there. How about this one? ECW One Night Stand, the first one. To have been in that hall for ECW One Night Stand. They did the reunion show. Do you remember?
Ooh.
You got to remember.
Don't toy with me now. Of course I remember.
Oh, you remember, yeah. Now, some people get that one confused for the second one. The second one, I think, was the one where they had all the WWE stars come in, remember? They had, like, JBL and Kurt Angle flipping people off and calling them bums and idiots and like, actually swearing at them. They were going full in.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 18, Matt, for Hogan and Rock, just to be there for that. Mania 30 for like the Undertaker breaking the street, being there and experiencing that live, the reactions in the crowd. Part of me would think I would like, if I didn't know what was going to happen at the ending, I would love to have been at Starrcade 97 for Sting's first match as the Crow, right? Hogan. Oh, there's so many. I can't pick one out. Sorry, I can't. There's just so many. They're the ones that I would lay in front of me and I'd be like, okay, let's just go through all of them because they're so good. If for actual fan interaction, I think I would love to have been probably at ECW One Night Stand. Just because of the level of the, like, literally, like, that was crowd interaction at its greatest. You got people being dragged and wrestled through the crowd and shit like that. And the rabid nature of the fans and stuff like that. But any of them is a winner.
Just for being ECW.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I struggle to come up with one, but there's a list of them there. And I'm sure there's even more. I love this question, man. I love it. Just the idea of being able to pick yourself and put yourself in any wrestling crowd for any wrestling show. That's fun. That's fun right there.
It's huge.
Yeah. Is there any others that you can think of, just on the fly before we move on?
On the fly before we move on? Not straight off the top of my head, no.
I was... Go on.
Taker versus, like, the moment when, so obviously, first of all, it would be for the Hell in a Cell match of Taker and Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
The debut of Kane.
No, you got me thinking, wouldn't it have been mental to be in the crowd when Mick Foley was thrown off that cage?
Oh.
I would have thought he would have been dead. I thought he would have been killed if I was in that. I'm going to say it right now. If I was the age I was and I was there, I mean, I would only have been 9. Yeah, I would have been 9. 9, 10, roughly, around about that time. I would have thought that Mick Foley was dead. I would have thought he was gone. And like to I don't know, maybe that's even worse, but man, what a question. I love that one. I give you props. That one's good. Billy McGee asks, if we could have any 3 WCW versus WWE dream matches, what would they be? I have named them all very quickly. Obviously, number 1, Sting and The Undertaker. Still, people want that, even though they're probably not going to get it now.
Yeah.
Flair versus Hogan, which never properly happened. I know they were supposed to have a match at WrestleMania, but they ended up not having one, even though posters and stuff were made up for it. This is during Flair's stint in WWE after he left WCW, and that was I think the point of that was that he had the belt, remember, because he had the deposit on it, so he took the belt, and then there was loads of litigation and stuff like that.
This is my belt.
Yeah,
he
had like 20 grand deposit put on that championship belt. He was not leaving it without the deposit being given back. So, and the other one, Goldberg versus Austin, I think is probably another dream match. There's probably more in there, but they're the 3 that pop to mind. Is there any, Matt, that you thought of? Any WCW, WWE dream matches? It's probably the biggest stars right there that you're thinking.
That's kind of it, really, is going for the bigger talents. I can't say I can think of much more.
Yeah. And people might say, well, Flair and Hogan did wrestle each other. They did, but they wrestled each other once they're both in WCW, and I just think that at the height of Flair's popularity and the height of Hogan's popularity, if you had to have a dream match at them at those particular points, the thing is, once Hogan was in the same company as Ric Flair always played second fiddle, and they always treated him like second fiddle as well. That's the reason why I put that one in there. Matt to Man asks if there is any wrestler on the NXT or main roster. This was on Facebook as well, by the way. On the main roster, who we'd push to main event status, who would it be? My answer, very easily, Matt, Samoa Joe, because WWE needs world-class heels, and he is exactly that. Is there anyone else that you think that would?
No.
And his other question is, who do we drop back to the mid-card and why? My answer to that is the mid-card is big enough as it is, even if you don't like the guy being a main star. We certainly don't need mid-card people. We've got.
Yeah, but I can't think of his main guy to drop down, really.
Yeah. Like I said, even if you've got like a guy that you don't like, literally, like the mid-card is big enough, like just... like any more, and that fucker's gonna burst. It's gonna be, we're gonna have mid-carders everywhere, just fucking leaking out. So, yeah, there's never been more mid-carders in wrestling than there is today. In the current state of wrestling, which is a shame, but that's just the way that the format's gone. So if you guys want to leave any questions, you can do so in the comment section below. You can leave them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast, and of course, Matt, drop it once again.
At Talk Wrestle Pod.
Oh, yes, it is. You can leave the questions there as well. Just a quick thing before we do move on. Because of the amount of different ways that you can leave questions in, we're still getting used to be able to put all these questions together in a cohesive unit. So if you leave one and it's not answered, it's either for 2 reasons. 1, because we haven't seen it, or 2, it's because it's something that we've already feel like we've answered before. And... so if you leave a question and we don't answer it, more especially if it's on the YouTube, it's probably because we feel like we've answered it before, or we just can't give an answer that we don't, doesn't add anything to much that we've already said, sort of thing, So that's the reason why we're answering. We're still going by, we'll answer everyone's questions, but we'll answer the questions that we feel like we can add something to, and ones that we haven't felt that we've answered, at very least recently. That's how we're gonna run with it there. So that's the only reason why. So if your question isn't answered, more than likely it's because we feel like we've answered it before, and that's the only reason why. So keep putting them in. If it's fresh and it's new and it's interesting for us, we're always gonna pick it. And I'm going to be ballsy and say this. There probably is other podcasts there that answer way more fan questions than us, but we're one of the podcasts that have been like, fuck it, let's just answer everything. Let's just go for it. But we don't want to keep repeating ourselves each week. So that's the only reason why I'm saying that there. If anyone gets it missed, on the rare occasion, and I do know this happens, like on the Facebook page, some people might put questions up and I miss it simply because of the fact that I'm still getting used to just gathering all this shit together, and that's completely on me. I take all the questions into the notes, so. Just a matter of getting used to it, Matt. The show is expanding. We just got to get used to how it expands. That's the thing. So, all right, NXT report card. Matt, you have not watched NXT this week.
I have not.
You have not. So I'll give you a kind of a brief breakdown after our report card. But you not catching NXT this week doesn't stop you from giving a report card on Carmella. who we're going to be...
The hottest chick in the ring.
Yeah, bada bing. That's right. Now, Carmella, she is the #1 contender to the NXT Women's Championship. She will be wrestling Bayley pretty soon. I don't think she's penciled in to wrestle Bayley at Dallas. I think they have a different plan for that. Now, and I'm fine with that. I like Carmella, Matt. This is struggling for me. I'm going to try and explain why I have some problems with her, and why I don't believe. I think there's something. I'm going to explain what's wrong with her, but some people may not understand where I'm going for. And
Right.
First of all, Matt, what do you think of Carmella? What do you think of her overall? I'll give you the forum to go forward. And
I like Carmella. I think she's improved a great deal since, like, as of late. I'm still not a believer that she is the best on the roster.
Yeah.
I think she's actually quite far from it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of one thing that I kind of don't like. Because I was thinking to myself, like you've got people like Emma who, like, at one point she was stating, I started the Divas Revolution. I was like, well, yeah, because that revolution was started off with Paige and Emma.
Yeah.
So I think there are better women out there.
Oh, there's certainly
on the NXT brand. But that's not to say I don't dislike Carmella, but I think a lot of her being over is because she's associated with Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, I think that's quite a avid point. I think one of the things that we've said before is look at it from the perspective of if she was never paired with them, how far would she have got over at this point?
Yeah.
Now, and I think that's one of the things that we said about her before, right, in regards to that. The reason I bring her up now is because she's being elevated to a position now. She's #1 contender. She's going to have a match with Bayley, and it's going to be given time, right? She had a match this week against Emma, funny enough.
Yeah.
And she beat Emma. The problem was, with me, I thought the match wasn't very good at all. And the reason being for that, I'm not going to put the blame on Emma for that, because we've seen that fucking handfuls of stellar matches from Emma to know that likely the problem was on Carmella's side. I feel like in the ring she comes off a little bit airy-fairy, right? When she feels like she's attacking someone, doesn't feel like she's attacking someone, which I think is a problem with some of their women going in, that they just have to, they have to get some impact on their connections and their strikes and their moves. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. And like, in terms of overall package, she's gorgeous, right? She's a good-looking girl. She's clearly athletic. I don't like her entrance music as a face because, like, it's just very slow, right? And it's a bit weird. It's almost got like
I forgot that she actually has her own.
Yeah, she does. It's like, but it's very slow, and I don't. It's not really like a face tune. People might say I'm a little bit off on that, but that's what I believe. I think she's got the balls to speak on a mic, and I certainly think there's worse people to speak on a mic than than herself. But I think that it looks like this, Matt. It looks like she talks the talk. When she gets into the ring, she doesn't entirely walk the walk. So therefore, she can speak fantastically, but there's still deficiencies in her game, right? I know she's going to be wrestling Bayley, but there is like a million miles between them in terms of in-ring quality. Bayley is like the very top of what you could achieve, and Carmella is not even close to that. She's not even on a level below. She's several levels below where Bayley is.
Yeah.
That's just the honest truth about that. I mean, she hasn't had as much time as maybe some other girls, but I feel like she has the same problem with them, where, like I say, it's the in-ring impact. They have matches sometimes it just doesn't get over, and it didn't help this week that, I mean, the crowd are absolutely dead in Full Sail. I mean, it was kind of eerily awkward how dead they were.
I think Was it after a string of recordings though?
Yeah, I get the feeling this is an arse end of a long taping, and those people have been sat there for hours,
Yeah.
seeing multiple people come in and back out, and it's gonna wear on them, right? And so that was the case there. I just she's in a position now. Listen, Alexa Bliss, in my opinion, she was put in a similar situation at the end of the last rotation, where she was the rival before the big show match, right? She wasn't meant to be at Takeover London. They had that slot for Nia Jax, but they need to fill the time with a decent enough title feud to go on for that time.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss did that. I think Alexa Bliss is much more equipped than Carmella is, and I think that's. The reason being is because Alexa Bliss is a better in-ring worker. Now, that may be... Maybe I'm getting this completely wrong. This is only from what I'm seeing this week. I thought she had a bad match this week. That's just how I believe. Now, when you get around to watching NXT, or if you do, I'd be interested to see what you feel. But I thought the match at times had a problem where they kind of didn't know where they were going. They kind of didn't know where was going to go next. And like I said, Carmella has that sort of... she's almost like she's not stiff enough almost. She feel like she doesn't... When you've got Asuka, who did have a match, doing her moves, it feels like she's killing them, right? That's kind of, like, when she looks over there, people might go, oh my god, she's working so hard, and she really looks like she's killing them. That's exactly what you should be doing, right? We should be feeling as if, like, they're kicking ass in that ring. It doesn't look to me that Carmella is kicking ass. And the only thing, when she beat Emma this week, it just came off a little bit weird, like, really? Like, okay, but... Like
she shouldn't have beaten Emma?
A little bit, I don't know, but still. We saw how much damage Emma took from Asuka and still gave it out. But still, what's your grade for Carmella, then?
I'm going to give her a C+.
I gave her exactly the same. C+. I thought that was probably the best thing for her. She's not horrendous. I think that you got the upper echelon. You got like Bayley, you got Asuka, you got Emma. They're the very experienced, well-rounded women that could probably get a call up today and they can be completely fine. Or even, I hate that idea of they get a call up and they'll be fine. They'll be fine anyway. They'll be fine. They're better than most of the women on the main roster, right? But then you've got like the lowest step down. I feel like Carmella's on that lowest step down, but there's a big jump from that lower step to where the other women are. It's just such a big divide, And then, like I said, I talked about the NXT women's backline, which includes, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay and all that lot. And I said those girls, they are in the same. This is what, I'm going to use the release of Bull Dempsey this week to kind of explain what situation they're in. I would not be surprised to see their names pop up in a release. And that's the way that I look at it, because it looks like they're never...
voice in that?
Yeah. Yeah. What are they doing? Like they're not doing anything at the moment. And when they get the chance to impress me, I'm not that impressed. So, that may be harsh, but that's the case. Like, with the way they've been used, Matt, anyway, even regardless of their potential, would you be entirely shocked? I mean, you would be more shocked than Bull Dempsey, maybe, but I wouldn't be completely shocked. Yeah. But we'll see how it goes. Other stuff that happened at NXT, Alex Riley did return. And I still think I'm one of the only guys that thinks that there's something you can still do with this guy. He's never going to be a massive, massive star. But it's been a nightmare time for him. He finally got back into the ring. They did that storyline with him. And then he got injured for a very lengthy amount of time. He's a heel now. He beat Bull Dempsey this week. And he's just very intense. And you know what? With all the people not being intense in WWE, I kind of like that, right? So I still think there's something you could do with him. And I do believe that if they give him even just a minuscule amount of chance, he'll do everything within his power to try and take it. So a lot of people are completely worn off the guy, but I look at him and I look at the desire and how much I feel like he wants it, and I'm like, just go on, I
still want Alex Riley to succeed.
Yeah, I think there's something there, right? Whether or not he's going to be able to tap into it or WWE's going to be able to use it, I don't know, but still.
Well, I guess it also kind of comes down to the fact that he wasn't like we weren't drowned in Alex Riley, if that makes sense.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Like, he's had a very long career when it comes to WWE, but he hasn't had a lot.
He hasn't done anything really. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, he has fallen victim to injuries, and then obviously that resulted in him being sort of sidelined for ages until out of nowhere he was on NXT.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. It's like you got to look at like the peak of his career, right? Was him beating The Miz in that Capital Punishment match. Funny enough, that DVD, I always bring it up, Matt. But that was the height of his career, and it looked like they were going to. I mean, he was teaming with John Cena on Raw some weeks, right? So he was. They clearly had some sort of plan for when they wanted to take him, and then that just quickly.
Yeah, they just somehow just gave up on him.
Yeah, they gave up on him very quickly. So hopefully he does well. I think there's something you can use there, just like I said, all the things before, but we'll see. There was a match between Balor and Cruz. They were doing like the rematch, considering they never had a proper ending to their match a couple of months ago now, to the title match that Cruz had. You know, Baron Corbin got involved in that match.
Yep.
And it's a long time, Matt, since we've seen Balor wrestle at all. He's not been around that much, considering they've been trying to find a new number one contender. Which, of course, what we said last week was likely going to happen. They're going to have a match between Balor and Zayn to decide the number one contender.
That's true, actually, isn't
it? So, I thought this match was good. I don't know I'm going to talk about the two match, but if you're going to ask me to tell you, okay, tell me banked on what is going to be a good wrestling match for me to watch this week. Balor Cruz, go for it. Knock yourself out. About 15 minutes, stellar. It's all right. It's good.
Yeah, I can imagine it being pretty good.
Yeah. There's nothing special, but it's still a good match. Still something you can enjoy, so crack on. And that's our NXT thoughts this week. And obviously we will cast our report card on someone else next week. No one is exempt, except for the people that are no longer with the company, like Bull Dempsey. So
yeah, let's rate Bull Dempsey. Yeah. His attendance has been poor.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have to suspend him at this rate, Matt, if he doesn't keep showing up. That's right. Raw review. Here we go. Raw. We're on the road to Fastlane, Matt. Brock Lesnar was announced for this show. And before the show even began, we were told that AJ Styles would be appearing on Miz TV. Welcome to the WWE, AJ Styles. That's all I would say. I was like, ugh.
As much as you hated that.
Yeah. It's emanated from Birmingham, Alabama, and for those interested in the viewership ratings, Raw dropped by 600,000 viewers this week, which is interesting. I don't know if they had anything rivaling them, but it's quite odd that... I mean, I know The Rock was there last week, but he wasn't announced until he actually arrived. Maybe it was more obvious than maybe I'm putting it out, but... to drop that many views, they must have had something going against them that week. I don't know. Maybe there was some big match on or something. I don't know. But they did lose a lot of viewers overall the last week. But still. Talking of a certain Bork Laser, he does come down to the ring to start off the show. And with Paul Heyman taking on the mic, Matt, we know, of course, as we always say, that gold is about to happen.
Of course.
Paul Heyman. He brings up how the Wyatts eliminated Brock Lesnar at the Rumble, and he says, when Lesnar wants to, at his discretion, when he feels like it, he'll deal with the Wyatts in due time. But he says he's also, Mayor Lesnar is going to imprison Reigns and Ambrose into Suplex City and become the world champion once again. Now, of course, I'm just running down what he has said here. I'm just giving you an overall of the kind of points that he's going on. But we all know, Matt, the key with Heyman is not what he says, it's how he says it. And I couldn't do justice to the way that he portrays his messages to the crowd. It's timeless.
He is like a master of delivery, isn't he?
Yeah. It's quite funny that you think with the majority of Paul Heyman guys that come around, a lot of them are pretty decent on the mic. You know, you look at CM Punk, phenomenal mic worker. Brock Lesnar, funny enough, was a good mic worker at the in some periods of his career. It's only when he hasn't used it for a long time or You know, he doesn't need to now. You're never going to get as good as Heyman, but he's not a bad mic worker. People just naturally assume he is. You look at some of the promos he did in his first run with WWE, they were great. They were awesome.
Yeah.
And some other people. And you know, I mean, when you've got Paul Heyman managing you, being close to you, teaching you, that's such an invaluable resource to people. And yeah, I think that like I said, you can honestly see. I mean, he's so good, Paul Heyman, that he could make a Floyd Mayweather fight sound interesting. He could sell me a Floyd Mayweather fight, which I would never buy, by the way, because you know it's going to be boring, fucking Wile E. Coyote running around that ring trying not to get hit. All right, and I'm not into that shit, to be honest. You know, would you buy a Floyd Mayweather fight normally, Matt?
I don't think I've ever seen a Floyd Mayweather fight.
Well, you know what, Matt? In which case, you don't have much wasted time, because it is a lot of wasted time when you watch his fights. Hence why, and you know he's still making tons of money, and I'm going on a tangent here, there's less and less people buying his fights because they're all boring as shit. The most boring fights you'll ever watch. But still, moving on. But that's what I'm saying. That's how good Paul Heyman is. He could make Floyd Mayweather seem like an interesting prospect, but still. He starts talking smack about Ambrose. Funny enough, you talk smack about Ambrose, and the Lunatic Fringe wants a front row seat for the eloquent verbal smackdown that's being laid upon him. Ambrose says he isn't crazy and stupid, but he also isn't scared of Lesnar. He has respect, and he knows he's going to get the biggest beating of his life. But we all know, Matt, that he is just a clone, so it doesn't matter how much he gets beaten up.
That's it.
We've already said this.
That's how he was able to put on such a performance at Rumble after his, last man standing match.
Yeah, he was only acting, Matt, as if he was hurt, just to not raise attention to himself. That's the only reason he was doing it. We all know that what happened after that match at Royal Rumble is that they deactivated him, right? They took the chip out, they put it in a new Ambrose clone and sent him on his way. That's exactly what they did. It's what they do. Come on. What did you call it? The very the machinations of Stamford, Connecticut. I think was what was your particular way of saying it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always get this idea of just Lesnar standing there, just constantly F5ing clones of Ambrose. Him getting so tired that one of the Ambrose clones can actually.
I'm sort of almost comparing it to sort of like one of the end scenes in iRobot.
Yeah, it's just like they're constantly coming like a horde, and you can't stop them. Yeah. I like it. So, yeah, he just says, oh yeah, you know what, and he doesn't care if he gets destroyed, and he walks off. He's just like, well, I just wanted to see the beast up front, and he walks away. I thought Ambrose looked good in this situation here, squaring up to Lesnar. He's whenever he mingles with that main event status, man, I always think he looks just where he should be, and then the month afterwards he gets put back down in the mid card. But still, he is one of those few guys, Matt, and when I say he's a mid card, he's one of those guys that he is mid upper, isn't he? They can put him in those main event slots and he'll do exactly what they need of him, and he doesn't look like he's out of place, unlike a lot of the guys in there, right? Like, it doesn't look as bad when you got Ambrose squaring up. If you had someone like Ziggler doing it, you're going to be like, Ziggler, you're going to get killed, mate. What the fuck are you doing? Ambrose, not so much. He has a little bit more of legitimacy about him, but still. I thought this opening segment, Matt, I thought it was quite interesting. You've got an interaction between two guys we've never seen before, which was Lesnar and Ambrose, and I thought that they gave Ambrose plenty of time, and oh, come on, whenever you got Heyman on the mic, it's always good. It's
That's it.
never too bad. In fact, I saw a kayfabe news article over the course of this week that he recited the entirety of a phone book, and it gripped the crowd for hours on end. So, of course it would. The starting match of the show is Kalisto versus Rusev. No Sheamus this week. We all know he's injured, and I'm sure that they're only playing this up for another couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure that Rusev and Del Rio are going their separate ways. I mean, Barrett wasn't even out there, right? So this whole League of Nations thing, I think it's done. They're just kind of, they're slowly. What I'm saying is WWE are going to forget they had a faction in the first place when it comes to
that's it.
That's the way I look at it. Del Rio is on commentary in this match, but he's not that good, Matt. And I thought that talking has never quite been Del Rio's strongest attribute. I
mean, that's why he had Rodriguez for so long.
Yeah. He's not horrendous, but he's not good, and he's not good enough to seem like he fit in with those guys. He felt like he was out of place, right? Del Rio's strength is always going to be his in-ring work. He is an exemplary pro wrestler. He is very, very good. But his talking, is not has always been up to scratch. I even think I think some people overrate Del Rio's verbal ability, if I'm honest. But still, a decent enough match. Kalisto wins by count out, but gets out of dodge before Del Rio can attack the little mosquito, as he calls him. And for all the people, Matt, that we talk about NXT guys getting called up to the main roster and getting shit on, at least Kalisto, I mean, he's the fucking US champion.
He's doing pretty well.
Doing pretty well for himself now. I'm sure that, and this isn't...
It's terrible to think that it's all thanks to Sin Cara getting injured.
Yeah. Now, guys, when I say this, don't label the racism card at me. This is just how it works. I'm sure his appeal to the Latino demographic is helping him in spades. I think it's helping him out a lot because Vince wants to appeal to that. We've heard, Matt, over the last 5 years, we've heard tons of stories of him wanting that demographic to be catered to, right? That the Latino demographic. So I'm sure that Kalisto having that appeal is helping him here. But that's just business, guys. That isn't, you can't have John Cena getting towards that demographic. Same way as you can't have Bayley appealing to the hardcore men's demographic. Yeah, you and me fucking love Bayley. Maybe that's a wrong thing, but you know what I mean. I mean, demographic
everyone
is little
fucking
girls.
loves Bayley, which is the weirdest thing.
It is. But yeah, a good match to start off with. I thought that the show started off pretty well. Stephanie is talking to Reigns and Ambrose backstage. The WWE Championship is on display in their office. Reigns is cutting jokes about Stephanie being proud about having the title. She's like, oh, you're quite proud about having that. And I'm like, that's not exactly the Reigns I would have liked, Matt. I go back to the Reigns, the ass kicker. Do you really think you would have stood there cutting jokes, or would you just grab the title and be like, this is mine, fuck you? You screwed me, I'm not having this. If you want to get in my face, then I'll knock you out too. I'm Roman Reigns, I don't care. But this is more like, oh yeah, you're quite happy about having that. Oh, we'll see about that, huh? And I'm like, no. Matt, what I'll try and get this over, this is Reigns playing by the authorities' rules again. You remember how much that I hate this? All right? Everyone playing by the authorities' rules. Most over guy in wrestling history was Stone Cold Steve Austin. What was the one thing he did? He never played by the authorities' rules. That was his appeal. I'm not saying that every character needs to do it, but if you're trying to get a guy and trying to make him come over like a big star, at the moment he's a very good obedient employee. And what the most over part of Reigns was when he kicked the shit out of Triple H. Remember when he did go ballistic and stick it to the authority? I'm like, do you not realise the magic that was there? I understand you don't have to do it every night, but in the same shade, you don't portray him as this goody two-shoes employee that shows up, and does what he's told by the authorities. So, weird. Steph says that teams are destined to break up. Marty Jannetty with Shawn Michaels, Orton with Evolution. So she's like, well, you guys are going to eventually break up. And she sets them up against the New Day later on in the night. Now, apparently, Matt, Marty Jannetty got a bit pissed off with his name being
I was
dropped in.
really confused by this. 'Cause
Yeah.
I heard about Marty Jannetty being angry before I actually watched Raw.
Yeah.
Obviously, because, I'm not staying up until stupid o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But then I got round to it and I was like, I forgot it was Marty Jannetty who got annoyed.
Yeah.
I was just half expecting a sort of I guess I know someone was pissed, I'll wait and see what it was. And I couldn't tell, on what grounds were you annoyed at that?
Yeah. I'm exactly the same as you. I heard about him getting pissed off before I watched it. Matt, when this segment came out, I was waiting for a very dirty statement to come out, very offensive, right, about Marty Jannetty. And
it was Marty Jannetty never saw Michaels turning on him.
Yeah, there's actually been fun. I mean, that was very tame. That's not even anything to do with Marty Jannetty being the butt of everyone's jokes of, if you're the guy in the tag team that never becomes a big solo star, you're the Marty.
The Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
There wasn't even that.
There
No.
wasn't, there's no reference to it. Like, all she was referencing to it was, all teams break up. Sometimes they don't see it coming. Do you remember when Shawn Michaels super kicked Marty Jannetty through a fucking window, right? That's all the reference was to. I was like, why are you getting pissed off at that? There's plenty of stuff that you could get pissed off with when his name comes up. Why this? Maybe he does get pissed off all the time, but he's just not highlighted. But even this was a little bit like, but why? Sorry, has Orton got a right to go on Twitter and be like, oh, I'm pissed off with what she just said? I'm like, no, it was a storyline. Like, what? It's got nothing to do. I thought it was very odd, but yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. There's far worse references done that I can even remember off the top of my head of Marty Jannetty's name being used on Raw, right?
Yeah.
This isn't even close.
It's not even like remotely close to using his name in vain or anything like that.
I don't know. It's
fools.
Maybe he just hurt his name and thought it was something that it was, and he's just like, they're doing it again to me, and I'm like, well, not in this occasion. It will happen, but not on this occasion. The Usos, then, against the Social Outcasts. Now, this is interesting. Oh, no, I've skipped a bit. I'll get to that in a minute. Renee Young speaks to Brie Bella backstage. Well, I can tell now why I probably wanted to skip this part, but still, we review every segment on Monday Night Raw. Now, I call Brie Bella, Matt, the worst character in professional wrestling. And everyone knows why I call her that. I think that she is, clearly. I think that she's the worst character in pro wrestling. There's no other way I can get around it. And if people want to go into further, maybe people are new to the show and don't know why I say that. Just go back to the sea of the storylines that she's had in a couple of years, and you'll understand what I mean. She was bullied and disgraced, and the things that her sister said to her, the vile things, and then she just sucked up and went, you know what, I love my sister anyway, so I'm going to do everything that she tells me to.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. The fact that she helped her sister remain champion without making any sort of moves for the championship herself. And she lost a huge chunk of whatever identity that she kind of had once she aligned with her sister. And then she started using all of her husband's moves for cheap pops, right? That's less so her character, right? But I think her character, the fact she was just like, oh yeah, you know what, it's fine. I'll stuff my bra with tissues and do whatever she tells me to. I think she's the worst character in pro wrestling. But still. She brings up an update about Nikki. Nikki, remember, has her neck surgery, which I think went successfully, but we went through all the things about that last week.
Apparently.
Charlotte pops up and she wants Brie to carry her sympathies. And she wonders if she was the reason for Nikki's surgery, but she doesn't want to apologize, though. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't. Even if it was your fault, it was in a wrestling match. Aren't you supposed to be, damaging your opponent? I don't know, but still. They're trying to build up Nikki and Brie, I guess, as the sympathetic faces now. I think they've got a fucking mile to run if they're going to try and get that shit to work.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if these sympathetic faces are going to end up being bigger than, Sasha or Becky, they've got a long way to go.
Oh, if that's what their end game is, to get these girls on the same acceptance level as those three women, they have got... They are fighting a battle that they probably will not win. That's just the way it is. Because, just people just naturally don't like them, right, Nikki and Brie Bella, right? If people did like Brie because of her association to Daniel Bryan, they're less receptive to it now. And I'm sure that maybe, I don't know, they'll do something cheesy like having Bryan come to her side. I don't know, but still. Alright, actually going to what I said anyway. The Usos versus the Social Outcasts. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up, Matt, everyone knows that I am a fan of Lillian Garcia. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I think, was it the words I use, Matt? She's a classy woman. And I've always had respect for her. I think she's a respectable woman. I think she's gorgeous. And I think that she's one of those few people that has a long-standing legacy with WWE. And her voice is very synonymous with Monday Night Raw and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
She fucked up this week. She
got done fucked up.
She did. She announced the Usos as the Slammy, not Slammy,
Grammy Award winners.
Grammy Award winners. instead of the Slammy Award winners. Now, we all know that I've given shit to the likes of JBL for fucking up words and Michael Cole, so I'm not going to excuse her from this. She made a mistake. It was stupid. She shouldn't have done it, right? That's probably the most negative you're ever going to hear me talk about Lillian Garcia, by the way, guys.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I think everyone knows. I think it's a little bit shitty how WWE love to point it out so much.
Yeah.
That they almost like they found a joke with her and they just won't fucking stop. They ham on and on and on and on and on to the point that when they keep making references to it, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, just all right, she fucked up. Not even I can make this many references to how JBL fucks up his shit. Just stop it, right?
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, it was a mistake. She did it, and but let me say this to everyone else. Do you think when JBL or Michael Cole makes these mistakes, unless someone else is on commentary, because I remember Xavier Woods giving them a good verbal thrashing when they got fucking Kalisto's name wrong, remember? Because like they are, you can see the the change in them. But
yeah.
So would you think that normally if one of them gets something wrong that they would highlight it as much as they did with Lillian here? Of course they wouldn't. We already know that's the case. They've made mistakes before and just glossed over it as if nothing's happened. And I just roll my eyes a little bit. It's like their little joke that they love poking a little bit of extra fun at Lillian's expense. I'm sure Vince loves doing that a little bit. I mean, we all know the constant hundreds of replays of her heels breaking on the ramp, this sort of stuff. And I'm like, come on. I was like, fair enough. Okay, you can bring it up. It was a dumb mistake. She should be pointed out for it. But I was like, after about the 8th time of them referencing it, I was starting to roll my eyes and be like, come on, like, can you not think of anything else? Was that the funniest thing you saw that you heard today that you have to keep bringing it up?
We're all adults here.
Yeah, but still. There's a point here where the Usos take a page out of the Young Bucks book and just have a super kick party everywhere. They have a Uso splash and they pick up the victory. I thought it was a good match. But Matt, I wonder how much you like those super kicks, right?
Mm.
You being the Young Bucks fan that you are.
Mm.
You don't want to talk bad about the Usos, do you?
Mm.
But you want to because they did the Young Bucks things here, didn't you?
Mm.
Would you?
They've already done it. I'm not going to hate it.
Yeah.
I really liked the one off the the top rope when on Curtis Axel. That was quite good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Then they went a little bit. Then they did a lot of the Young Bucks, and if you liked it, then you have to like the Young Bucks too. That's the way it works.
I do not have to like that.
I love there's such a huge divide. Some people just like them, and some people just absolutely have no time for them. It's kind of the reason why most people that like them, I guess. But like me, I like them. I think they're fine. Moving on, Matt. Before I test your conviction any further, we move to the Miz TV segment with AJ Styles. Now,
before you go on, I didn't hate this.
Okay, neither did I. I do have problems with it though.
Yes, I feel dirty for having to admit this. That I didn't truly hate a Miz TV section.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what was even stranger about this, Matt. It's the Miz that made it that way, right? Funny enough, which may have shocked more people. I mean, AJ Styles didn't say anything, so there's something with that. Now, I've got a few things to go into before we talk about the segment. I am worried. And the reason I'm worried is not because of what happened here. It's because of what happened as soon as AJ Styles came out. There was no fan response when he came out. Now, he's going to get fan responses here and there. But I worry a bit. Styles still has to be educated to an audience that he's never been shown to before. The 1 million fans that he had, 1 million viewers of TNA that he had back in the day, and people overthink how many people are the hardcore wrestling fans. There isn't millions of us, right? There's not even 8 million. I'd even go as far as not even say there's 100,000 of us in the world, right? So, in terms of really fans that really know him, there's a huge portion, over 60, over 2/3, over 66% of WWE's fan base have never heard about AJ Styles before. So a lot of them are going to be like, well, why should I pop for him? I don't know who he is. And that's fine because he has time. But my constant thought behind that is, with these lack of fan responses he gets from certain cities and places that aren't as into wrestling on the level where AJ Styles went to as the rest, I wonder how Vince views that. And I wonder how Vince thinks of it. And he thinks, well, this guy isn't getting any reaction, so maybe any plans of putting him anything higher than that already bloated mid-card, nah, not really that interested in doing anything else with the guy. And that's what worries me a little bit here, that they don't have that long-term plan set out for him. And we all know how Vince gets bored of guys, right? Tyler Breeze, how long did it wait for him to get bored of Tyler Breeze and think of and get a negative thought track of him and then look at where he is now, right? Jobbing to Titus O'Neil this week. We'll get to that later on, right?
Don't.
That's why I'm worried, right? That's why I've got a little bit of anxiety when it comes to Styles, because I'm like, when he comes out and he doesn't get any response from the crowd, I'm a little bit like, every week that happens, I get a little bit more worried.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been around for long, so.
Actually, do you know one thing that's actually, to this day, I'm still just like, when will you do it?
What?
He does his, like, the whole Bullet Club wide arm sort of thing. When's he going to do the palm gloves?
Well, he hasn't done that at all since he came in, has he? But it'll come over time. I think one of the things is, like, he hasn't even used his Styles Clash on Raw yet.
Oh, not on Raw.
Not on Raw, yeah. SmackDown doesn't matter on SmackDown. But you know what I mean?
You better go SmackDown doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter on SmackDown. We don't watch it. Not most people don't watch it, so that's the way it is.
I don't know. I did see a little bit on. It's not like I'm not saying that as in like I've watched it, but I did see apparently on SmackDown, Kevin Owens went for a pop-up powerbomb on Kalisto, and instead of slamming him, he just threw Kalisto at Ambrose.
Oh, jeez. I'm sure there's good wrestling on there, but I don't have an extra 2 hours to watch a show that WWE doesn't even acknowledge half the time. So,
yeah,
you know, Raw is their flagship show. It always will be, and that's just the way it is. So Styles comes to the ring, and they've got Miz. He's basically not giving him a chance to speak, but he actually gives what I thought was a very good background for him. And
yeah,
Miz is going on about, you know, he shouldn't have ever succeeded, but through hard grit and determination and wrestling, you know, he went. He obviously didn't say the words TNA, but he went to Japan and made a name there, and he went through. He really built up this guy. It was about 5 minutes of the Miz non-stop speaking, and he was like, I see similarities between this guy and Daniel Bryan, one of my former proteges. And he calls himself the father of the Yes movement and wants to mentor Styles. And as you say there, Matt, I thought it wasn't half a bad promo from the Miz. I thought he had a very good promo. He got he got across his point, and he he came off like an arsehole at the end of it, which was his job, right? He's supposed to be like that. He got his teeth knocked out on SmackDown, but funny enough. Styles hears enough of this, and he's just like, you know what? Because, Miz starts going off at the crowd saying, he will never make it if he keeps listening to you. So obviously starts like, well, you know what? I'll start attacking you. I'll start beating the shit out of you. I thought they missed a bit of an opportunity at the end of this match to have Styles cut, even just like a 30 seconds to finish off at the end. But Styles literally said no words in this entire promo. And I know that was kind of the point, but at very least at the end you could have Styles taking the mic and leave a bit of an exclamation point to the whole thing, you know? But,
yeah.
Because he's not a bad promo guy, Styles. He's half decent, you know? But, all in all, I thought, as you say, Matt, I don't think it was fantastic. Some people were like, oh my god, I think they're just too shocked that a Miz TV segment wasn't fucking horrendous, that they're taking it overboard and going, this was a great segment. It wasn't a great segment. It was okay, but, man, that's a lot better than what we had.
Say it was great, it was acceptable.
It was shockingly acceptable. That's probably the best way that we can describe it, so, there we go. Because I was fearing the worst, Matt. I thought we might have horrendous back and forth between the two that goes nowhere and no one gets over. And they keep, what is it that you do on some of the you know I hate this, Matt. People keep coming out saying one line, then another person comes out, says one line, another person. I hate those promos with a fucking vengeance.
Yeah.
Really do. So after this, we move to Brie Bella versus Charlotte. And Matt, I'm starting to think to myself here, was Brie Bella ever good? I'm starting to think that I fooled myself.
I find it hard to imagine that at one point in our lives we thought that Nikki was the worst of the two.
Yeah. Like, I was like, has she always been this painfully mediocre? You know, or was she ever good? Maybe I was already under the impression that she regressed, but I'm starting to think now, with the way I'm watching her, that she's wasn't that good to begin with. So, yeah, that's the way I think about it. I mean, she had a better match than her usual stuff. I still didn't think she was that good, you know, by any means. And with that fantastic performance, and I am being sarcastic there, she pins the champion and beats Charlotte clean. 100% beats her. There is a lot of shit done wrong with this. One being the fact that champions shouldn't be losing non-title matches, and secondly, let alone to women who are a million miles away from being champion. Brie Bella should not be in the championship title hunt. She is... How often she's been used as a jobber. This is her first win in God knows how long, let alone, you know, singles victory against someone of stature. So it's a little bit like, really? And people might go, oh, you just don't want her to win because she's Brie Bella. No. Even if it's someone else, as a champion, you shouldn't be losing non-title matches on TV. You should be winning a lot of these matches.
You should be like, this is why I'm the fucking champion.
Yeah. Even if she cheats to win them, and as long as she keeps winning is the point of it, you know, because otherwise you get into a point. Remember when Barrett was the IC champion and he lost 95% of his matches on TV as IC champion?
Yeah.
It's like, and you wonder why no one cares about the IC championship, because the champion is fucking useless. And now, obviously, that's a little bit going a bit too far because this is Charlotte losing one match. But I just want to explain my track of thought anyway about reasons why I didn't like that finish. I didn't think the match was great either. I thought it was a bit...
Of course the match wasn't great. Brie Bella was in it.
Yeah. But I tell you what, guys, I'm going to give people a challenge. I want you guys to either convince me that Brie Bella was once good, maybe remind me is a better idea, or even point me in the direction of a match I can watch that was good, that was her good in there. And people might initially, but what about her highest profile match against Stephanie McMahon? I write that one off because I thought Stephanie McMahon was a better wrestler than she was in that one. And I think that's, you know, for a woman who doesn't wrestle, and it isn't her job to wrestle, out-wrestling one of the active talents on the roster, I think that was a bit odd, right? I think everyone was shocked, wasn't that Stephanie McMahon was actually out-wrestling Brie Bella. I know that the match was probably designed that way, but still. Someone find me a match that can change me my mind. Because people may not think this. I actually want my mind to be changed. I don't want to think that this woman has always been shit. I want to look at her and be like, you know what? That's a good Brie Bella match. And I enjoyed watching that match. Someone find me that match, and I will watch it. And I'll give my thoughts next week. What about you, Matt? Would you watch that match if someone can find it?
Probably not.
Nah, you probably won't. I will. I'll do it. I'm willing. I'm opening my heart to you guys. All right? All the Brie Bella fans out there, if you're there, change me. Enlighten me. Find a way. Moving on. Big Show versus Eric Rowan. The man... Oh, man. You okay there, Matt? Yeah? You right? Yeah, okay. So, guess what, Matt?
Terrible.
Big Show, he turned face.
On SmackDown.
I don't know.
See? Something happened on SmackDown. But then, to be fair, this is a Big Show face turn, so it's nothing.
Yeah. The man, was it the man of 1,000 turns, as we've dubbed him. So, bearing in mind that they're given no actual reason to why Show is suddenly face, like the Bellas, it's just, oh, we're face now. It's like, okay. So Big Show picks the win up easily despite the distractions from the Wyatts. Matt, this is why I've said all along that if they're going to have a Lesnar match at Mania, it has to be a 4-on-1 match, just by how these group of guys have been booked. Lesnar's been booked as an unstoppable juggernaut who cannot lose unless people cheat against him, right? And the Wyatts have been booked that the Big Show can easily dispatch one of them, and that's basically it, right?
Yeah.
Look how easily and quickly Brock Lesnar beat Big Show on that house show in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's the way it is. It has to be. There's no other way, Matt. If they do a Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar match, people just be like, well, we know how this is going to end, right? It has to be a 4-on-1 handicap match. Fuck it. Make it a tornado tag match. That's the only way that you can make it feasible at this point, you know? But we'll soon see. I've heard thoughts of having Braun Strowman in a match against the Undertaker, man. That's been the idea's been flitted
Yeah,
around.
I've seen that being thrown around.
And I'm like, okay, that seems very fucking early for him, but okay, we'll see.
And then I keep seeing a load of people sort of like, I'm pretty sure Undertaker's allowed a veto by now.
Yeah, can he just not skip a Mania at this point? Yeah.
Well, can he just go, oh yeah, Mark, we want you to wrestle Braun Strowman, and he's just like, yeah, I don't think I will.
Yeah, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to. And I we actually like Strowman here. It's just a little bit like, that's really early. Unless you're going to give him a win that's going to change his entire career, and suddenly he's above everyone in the Wyatts for beating it, because Bray couldn't beat the Undertaker, right? It's just a bit odd. It doesn't really make much sense. But still. And he's not at the point yet, Matt, where I think he can have a decent singles match. He's still got time to go. He was rushed up to the main roster.
Yeah.
I think he's all right. I think he's a lot better than what most people make out, but he's all right in the situation he's in, where other people can mask his inadequacies. He hasn't had a lot of training time. That's just the bottom line. But after this match, anyway...
Actually, to be fair, like, with his inadequacies and his lack of training time, it was during the beatdown, like what you were about to mention, like, they beat Big Show down, and it was during that I realised Strowman isn't that good.
No, but
he's still very reserved.
He's green. That's the only way
Yeah.
around it. And I don't have a problem with it. People may say that. I actually like him in the situation he's in. I was like, don't move him, but in the same breath, don't put him in a situation like Ryback, where you thrust him into a situation that he's not capable or ready for, and therefore you damage his chances down the line of becoming an asset to you. That's not what I want for him, because I think there's something you could do after a couple of years of running with this group, and he's learnt how to ply his trade properly and have singles matches, decent ones, much in the way that Roman Reigns did, right? Roman Reigns, when he first came in with the Shield, he wasn't a good singles wrestler. People may argue now he's not a good singles wrestler, but that's because they're blind with hate for the guy. He is a good singles wrestler, right? He's a decent enough. He's not fantastic, but he's good. He's decent, right? The same could end up happening with Braun Strowman. He wrestles with these guys, has a lot of tag team matches. That's how things naturally happened anyway, wasn't it? You did things as a tag team. You could cover up each other's inadequacies. You spend a couple of years doing that, and when you feel like you've got enough time and experience and confidence to go out on your own, you do it. And if something great happens of it, that's just the way things used to happen anyway. Bret Hart at the start of this show, he was in a tag team before he became a huge star. Austin had Pillman before he became a huge single star, right?
HBK had Jannetty.
Yeah, right? A lot of these big guys... Matt, you're going to get an angry tweet if you can't remember
I'm in trouble now.
You're in trouble. But you know what I mean? But still. They take out Big Show afterwards. They drop him on a set of steel steps. And I'm thinking they're going to use Big Show as like a mini rivalry to make time until they go back after Lesnar. Because remember, Lesnar's still got this storyline at the moment where he's going after the World Championship. He won't be in that main event against Triple H. He will be going up against the Wyatts. But the Wyatts need something to do in the interim. They can't just stop because Lesnar's got other stuff on his plate, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way it is. Titus O'Neil versus Tyler Breeze. Matt, I only realised it this week. I miss saying Titus O'Heal. I want Titus O'Neil to go heel, so I can just say Titus O'Heal each week. I miss it.
I miss saying I enjoyed a Tyler Breeze match.
That hits a bit too hard to the chest there, Matt.
It hits harder than I miss Titus O'Heal.
Yeah, it does, to be honest. This is a random ass match, and I was about to say, well, they gave Breeze one of his entrance videos. A full-on entrance, not just a jobber one. And they even gave him a little video thing at the start when he's going down the ramp, where they give him the black background and he's just talking into the camera. Yeah. He even said Uggos. I got a little bit overexcited. I'm taking literally anything at the moment when it comes to Tyler Breeze. There's some sort of thing. I'm like, they're letting him have like some sort of speaking time, and Uggos, that was the whole thing about Uggos, and he's talking about, oh, awesome. And then he loses to Titus O'Neil, and I remember...
In barely not even 2 minutes.
Yeah. It was over very quickly. Titus O'Neil, dare I say it, Matt, did not break a sweat with Tyler Breeze. He beat him easily and convincingly.
Like, as much as I commend Titus O'Neil for, he does all this, really good stuff.
Yeah, I like Titus, yeah.
But like, yeah, like everything he does for on a social aspect and all things like that. I like all that, but I don't like it because it means they're like, look at Titus O'Neil. It's like, I don't want to look at Titus O'Neil.
Yeah. I actually am a fan of Titus O'Neil. Not even so much his. I mean, obviously he's a great guy.
As a guy, I prefer him as a man rather than as a talent.
But Matt, he's one of those guys that's been on the mid card again. He's one of the mid carder guys, right? He's been there for years. He's never going to get up to those things. Like Tyler Breeze is one of those fresh recruits with a gimmick that is tried and tested in NXT. Would you not give this guy a chance, right? Give him a couple of wins, see where it goes. Obviously, you've got at least some section of the crowd behind him. Titus O'Neil doesn't have that many fans. I like Titus O'Neil, but I wouldn't go out and buy his T-shirt, right?
Oh yeah,
I'd be more inclined to buy a Tyler Breeze one, right? But yeah, still, I can understand where they're going with it. They're finally giving him the props now, Titus O'Neil. They're going to try and build him up because he is such a good ambassador for the company. And if I was in ownership of a company, I would want Titus O'Neil. I would make good strides to try and hire him because of how well he comes off. He's a extremely professional guy. I would want him on my roster. But if I'm trying to make a main event star out of someone, I probably would go with Tyler Breeze. Maybe that's wrong, but that's just how I feel. You know? We're an opinion show. We're not exactly, fucking top draw wrestling journalists or anything like that. This is an opinion show, That's the way it is. Triple H speaks to Brock Lesnar backstage. We're actually running out of time. I have to rush through the rest of the show. Brock Lesnar backstage. He's pushing Lesnar's buttons, saying he can't believe Ambrose got away from him at the start of the show. And he wonders if...
is he getting weak?
He's getting soft, that's what he says, yeah. I actually liked Lesnar's response. He just pats him at the arm and just says, you know what, we'll see how soft I am at WrestleMania. I thought that was a kind of a nice little man-to-man promo, Didn't have Steph in there belittling people. It's just Hunter, Lesnar, face-to-face. I thought it was right. It was only like 20 seconds long, so I can't exactly dislike it that much. Dolph Ziggler, well, I say that. There's been plenty of...
To be fair, I quite enjoyed the whole sort of like, there's Paul Heyman just like, well, maybe I shouldn't. He's just like, Paul, get out.
Yeah. It's between the two of them, right? It's between them, and that's the way it is. And they've got a lot of history with each other, 3 matches back-to-back in a time that Lesnar wasn't being utilised that well, but still. Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens. Another match born over things apparently said over social media. Apparently they're having exchanges.
Was that why it was?
I don't know. Cole said they've been exchanging words over social media. And I get it. WWE are up to date with the technology and everything, but, this is total Divas style booking where it's like, oh, well, I have a go at you on social media, so we're going to have a match.
He said, she said bullshit.
Yeah. Limp Bizkit said it the best. That's what I said. However, Matt, it came to a point in this match where I was like, you know what, for whatever fucking reason you booked this match, I was glad you did, because it was very, very good. I really enjoyed this match. There was a point in this match, Matt, where it looked like Owens had damaged Ziggler so much that he couldn't continue the match, and it reminded me, I always had a flashback of him going against Sami Zayn, remember? And him winning the NXT Championship.
Takeover, yeah.
In the fashion he did. And I thought, finishing matches in that way, how that could have been a calling card for him, how sometimes he just snaps, right? And he's just like, you know what? Pinning you is too fucking easy. I'm going to keep powerbombing you until the referee stops this shit, until it gets uncomfortable.
That's it.
I'm like, they haven't done that finish with him since then. I thought, wouldn't it be something cool that Kevin Owens does? That's something that he goes for. Lesnar wouldn't do that sort of thing because why would he waste time on these guys and just continuously wasting energy? Once he's beaten you, he's beaten you, right? That's what Lesnar is all about. Owens is a little bit more... He's got a bit more pride. He's trying to make a little bit more of a statement. So him, when he's got someone beat, instead of just pinning them, he wants to hurt them, right? He really wants to put them in an awkward situation. But they didn't go down that route. But it made me think, wouldn't it be cool if they did? But that's what I'm thinking of it. Ziggler wins here with a zigzag. And if what everyone is saying was the plans to build up Owens for a match against Taker at Mania, losses like this make me less sure that was the plan. Because surely if they're building him up for a match against Taker, he wouldn't be losing to Ziggler here. That's just
he needs to be like taking out everyone and just sort of like... Yeah. He calls himself the prize fighter. Surely he'd want to fight the biggest prize.
Yeah, that's right. And you can't be doing that if he's losing against the likes of Ziggler. That's just the honest deal of it. So I'm thinking they've got a completely different card in their minds. Whether that means Braun Strowman, I don't know. Taker's the one awkward one at the moment where there isn't really anything that kind of makes sense with him, right, at the moment. So
Not
we'll see.
anymore.
But still. WWE are showing videos of their African American stars for Black History Month. Now, I'm not here to spark a race debate, but I sort of go by the mantra of what Morgan... I've said this last year when they did this as well. What Morgan Freeman said, that to me, and I'm not a black man who had to go through the trials of breaking through the barriers of race or anything. But I agreed with Morgan Freeman that it comes across a little bit patronising. It's like, oh, with all the bad things we do, we'll give you a Black History Month. There you go, have that. And it's a little bit like, would you have a White History Month? No, they're asking for all, equality, not all this stuff. But I don't want to get too much into a conversation about that. And the only thing I will say though, talking about that as well, is that I think there's like a big thing going on at the moment. Not a big thing, it's kind of small, but it's quite interesting, about a lot of black people not wanting to be referred to as African Americans because they've never been to Africa before. Some of their lineage doesn't even come from.
It's just I'm American.
Yeah, it's just I'm an American, right? I come from America. My passport is American. I have no idea of anyone in Africa.
I was born in America. My parents were born in America. So.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to get into that, but I just thought it was an interesting food for thought, in regards to that. But I think it was, what was it? That's So Raven, or Raven, whatever her name is. She was on Oprah and she said something like that. And I think she got loads of flack for it. But I'm like, she's just saying what feels like she wants to be called an American, not an African American. It's weird. But obviously, I'm not nearly as qualified to get in a conversation
to
about
make such remarks.
But at the end of the day, it came into my mind as I was watching this, so I put it in my notes and I'll talk about it. We're genuine guys here, so that's the way I'll go for it. Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. She says that what's my notes here? Oh, so Sasha Banks comes out first. Man, my notes are fucked up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Woo! So they're doing this thing here. So we've said before that it seems more and more as if she's completely away from Team Bad. And I knew that was the case when she came out here for this match. And she didn't even have the Team Bad plate up on her name. It was like, well, that's just done. And they were playing this up because she was saying, you know what, I don't want anyone stealing my spotlight. I'm on my own now. And then Team Bad come out, right? But it's not a bad thing initially, funny enough. And they're like, you know what, fair enough, you have to do what you have to do. We knew it was going to happen. But you know what? We still want to have you back anyway. And considering what they did at the end of this match, it makes me miss the fact that they could have just told a really good story here. Instead of having Sasha Banks randomly just come to the realization, I want to leave, they could have run that Farouk The Rock dynamic that they had in the Nation of Domination of this. Naomi is the leader, right, of that group. But Sasha Banks is the star, right? And the more and more that she gains confidence on the main roster, and the more and more that she gets these title matches that Naomi feels that she should be having and stuff like this, you could have this storyline where she's like, I'm not going to let you take over my place, And there's almost this ejection from the group by force, which is what Farouk did to The Rock. He was like, I'm not letting you talk smack about me in your fucking promos, which is what you're doing, even though I'm on your team. I'm going to deal about this. So you're out. I'm gonna make sure that you never speak again, sort of thing. I thought they could have had a good dynamic there, but they chose not to go with that. Naomi, in her promo, she says that they don't want a Twitter war like Kanye West and Wiz Khalifa. And maybe it shows it out of the times I am, Matt, but I think the term war shouldn't be associated with two prima donnas mouthing off to each other on their phones. Personally.
Yeah.
Right? People might know that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Kanye West, and I really don't know who Wiz Khalifa is, so I'm sure who was on Raw. I don't care. Couldn't remember. And here's the thing, Matt. So Sasha, at the start of this, she was like, oh, I'm going on my own. I don't want to share the spotlight. I can do this on my own. And then when Team Bad go, well, if you want to do it on your own, you can. And then Sasha goes, whoa, wait. And she stops short then of saying she can. Well, no, I do want you around. I do need you around. I'm like, wait, you just contradicted yourself. And this isn't.
We still want unity.
Yeah. I was like, you contradicted yourself a little bit here. And this isn't the Sasha Banks that I want. Sasha Banks was always, I'm the star. I'm the boss. Don't need you. Right? And what's funny then is that she contradicts herself again by, in the course of the match, just telling them basically to fuck off, that she didn't need them around. So it was a bit confusing in that sense. But Yeah, obviously with all that, Team Bad end up attacking Sasha Banks because they've had enough of her shit talking. The match ends up in a DQ, and then Becky and Sasha kind of team up for a little bit to fend them off, and that's a tag team match that books itself for next week, and I'm happy with that, Matt. I think that's a match that
Apparently that's going to be a thing.
yeah, I think that's the logical next place to go. And you know what? It's interesting. I'm happy with that. That's fine. Something I can get behind. Renee Young speaks to Jericho backstage. Matt, he has a shirt on this time, which is always good.
That's it. He is dressed, ready for the occasion.
That's right. And really all this is about Jericho coming off maybe a little bit pervy here, saying he's been thinking non-stop about AJ Styles. He just can't, Matt, he can't stop thinking about him. Just think about him all the time. That's pretty much the entire promo. I can't say anything. It's just him. I'm going to watch him very closely, and I've been thinking about AJ Styles. And I'm like, do you want to fucking get it over with? Do you want to ask him his number? How much did that match last night really get to you? You know, you seem to have enjoyed it a bit more than you should have, but
That's it.
okay. So,
To be fair, I was fine with the fact that he was just sort of savouring what it was.
yeah,
Because, I think if anything, it kind of made it feel bigger. The fact that it's like, rather than, it's not just anyone who's commending it, it's Jericho.
yeah. I'm playing it up for jokes. I didn't have that much of a problem with it, but I'm sure.
And unfortunately, like, as much as we were like, oh yeah, after the Rumble, they could go with like this thing, and it seems that it's not going to be like Styles Owens. But if this carries on going and his first feud at Fastlane is against Jericho again, I haven't got a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it, but then it's a little bit counterproductive that they've already had a clean
finish match. Yeah,
there's a problem there, but still. R-Truth is backstage. He's trying to have a dump, but Goldust finds him in the urinals. I wonder why there was a camera following R-Truth into the urinals, but let's just,
Well, I don't know. I think the main question is, why was the camera following them? But the cameraman was already in there.
Yeah,
so he was like videoing people shit.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, you know. It's I don't quite know what it is, you know. Maybe R-Truth was having a reality show and he knew he was going to be in there, so he was just like, you know what, I'm coming in there for a dump. That'll make great reality TV. And I'm really stretching here to make this seem as something I don't know. It was a bit weird. Anyway, but to be honest, guys, reality doesn't have much of a place in this particular storyline that they're telling. And Goldust is in there. He still wants them to become partners, to become the Golden Truth. I actually quite like that name, I will say.
I like the name.
Yeah. R-Truth doesn't want to tag with him because he's a weirdo with shit on his feet. That's essentially what he says, in a bit more PG way.
That's exactly what he said, to be fair.
Yeah. Goldie brings up a good point, Matt, that one of R-Truth's partners was Little Jimmy, an imaginary person.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not talk about weird. You used to wrestle with an imaginary friend.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And maybe tag teaming up with Goldust, he may be a weirdo, but Goldust never gets his timings wrong, you know, so maybe he can help R-Truth with that, you know, there's something with that. Now, Matt, every fibre of my being, I can't quite understand it, but every fibre of my being wants to just come out and say, what a pile of horseshit. What are they doing? It makes no fucking sense. It's not funny. But Goldust, for some reason, and I don't quite know how, makes it work. And I don't know why. I can't explain it. I cannot begin to tell you. I can't even understand it. And I don't really want to. But Goldust, for some reason, I don't know if you get the same as this, Matt. I want to just go like, what the fuck were they thinking? But I'm like, but Goldust is actually making this work somehow. I don't quite know how, but he is. Are you on the same sort of thought after that?
Do you know the one thing I'm quite liking? It's such a minor thing, but I like the silver on his face paint.
Yeah, I quite like that too. But I don't, he's one of those guys, Matt, when Goldust does comedy, he just can pull off, I don't know how he does it. Yeah. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's my taste, maybe I've just got a soft spot for the guy in there playing that up, but I'm just like, this is awful. I know it's awful. But
why am I smiling?
Yeah, but yeah. Why am I kind of enjoying this? And yeah, I guess with anyone else doing the same thing, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. But still, that's the case. New Day versus Ambrose and Reigns is the main event, which is good because we're well over time at this point. But still,
Yeah.
the New Day are frustrated about The Rock's involvement last week. They don't like his cursing because WWE is family programming. They love the children, and they point out a kid in the front row who tried to jive like Big E, but Matt, we all know, no one can
Nobody
jive.
jives like Big E.
No one does it. It just can't be done. You can try. You can try and do it. He says that they'll still fight children, though, if they want to, which is, yeah.
If they had to, yeah.
They make a small notion about weird Ambrose Reigns gay fan fiction.
Yeah. Almost like about to hint on a Reddit page or something.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, sure. And
that's where if that's what they do to, like, you know, beat the time, kill the time between cities.
yeah, I'm sure that would be a very interesting drive along if they're quoting fucking Ambrose Reigns gay fan fiction. But still, Paul Heyman is on commentary, as we always say. Gold ensues. We all know that. The fact he's even speaking for them, you know, is quite good.
It's like, that's a great point, Mr. Heyman. Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Heyman.
Yeah. One team, however, Matt, this will be a travesty. WrestleMania is just around the corner, Matt. And you know that with WrestleMania comes big, elaborate entrances, right?
Yes.
This is the place to be. If one team doesn't get it, I will be livid. If the New Day does not get a special WrestleMania entrance of them coming out on horses made like unicorns, I will flip a fucking lid. They deserve it. We need to see rainbows.
Deserve something, don't they?
We need to see rainbows. We need to see PlayStation 4s, because we know that Xavier Woods is a big thing about that. Matt,
Yep.
I want to see an entire band of people done, like literally an entire band set up with Francesca being the lead. Okay? I want them to go full on out. I want this to be New Day to the extreme. If they don't do this, I want to stage a walkout at WrestleMania, even though I won't be there. It has to be done. I want to see unicorns, I want to see rainbows, and I want to see a full band led by Francesca. So there we are. Not much, of course.
Not expecting a great deal.
Oh, Matt, and I also want hundreds of twerking dancers. I want more booty than Texas can handle. That's what I want.
So you basically want, like, Brodus Clay's entrance.
Okay.
From a few years back.
Not with grandmas, but with twerking people,
but with dancing girls and things like that. Mixed with, like, you remember when John Cena had the American Army playing his music?
Yeah.
And then, like, instead of a tank, you want unicorns.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want. And the rainbows. You forgot the rainbows.
And the rainbows.
Yeah. They have to have fireworks that go off, Matt. And as they explode, it makes a rainbow. Literally, their entire budget and profit from WrestleMania needs to be used on the New Day entrance. That's exactly what they need to be done. My wife is testing my temperature to see if I'm sick, but she does not understand what needs to happen right there. It
would be so booty.
It would be deliciously booty. That's the only way you could call it. So, still,
I'm surprised they haven't patented bootios.
Bootios, God. Literally just big round fucking. Oh no, we're going. I love the New Day. I fucking love these guys.
It's
I really do.
chocolate with marshmallow trumpets.
Yeah. that shit needs to get made now. Literally, someone needs to stop listening to this podcast and make it right now and sell it right now. That needs to be done. With all the love to the New Day going on this show, I thought this match was okay. I had tuned out at this point. The 3 hours probably was doing me in more than anything. And Ambrose hits the Dirty Deeds after like a rally from Ambrose and Reigns and wins the match. However, no time to celebrate. Lesnar's like, you know what, people have been mouthing off to me about the fact I didn't kick the shit out of you. So I'll give you an F5 and I'll be on my way. And that's exactly what he does. He F5s Ambrose and just walks off. That's pretty much it. All in all, Matt, I thought it was an okay show. There was obviously some bits in it here where it wasn't so good and some bits that were annoying. The Miz thing could have been far worse than what it was.
Well, the thing is, the Miz thing we feared was going to be far worse.
Yeah, but it wasn't. So. I thought that for mid-monthers go, Matt, I thought this was surprisingly okay. I thought it's worth a watch, guys. It's worth a watch going the way through. Some of them, it's one of those shows again that struggles with that 3 hours, and that after a certain point, you are feeling to yourself you're getting tired, and you're struggling to keep attention to it. I did, at very least. And when that main event came around, Matt, even though as much as I do love the New Day, I was a little bit like, I'm kind of done. I'm ready for this show to be over.
Yeah.
That's the.
I mean, the worst part is the fact that I don't know about you, but I watched this over like 3 sittings.
Yeah.
Like rather than sort of sit and watch the whole thing as one. But I've done it before. But it's like you do get those weeks where it's like I don't know how. Like we managed it when we went to Raw. But then that's the difference of being as the live crowd.
You're always going to enjoy a show being there live. Just
whether
because
it's 3 hours or not.
Yeah, I mean technically that was 4 hours because we had the Superstars taping beforehand as well. So,
very true.
But because we're there and we're enjoying it, we're with each other. I mean, you're always going to enjoy a show just sitting next to someone anyway, even if you're watching on a TV. So even if you're there,
no, I don't know.
It matters who you're with, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Because Matt, I'm trying to say that you would always enjoy watching Raw with me, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Say that now, otherwise I cry.
I will always enjoy watching Raw with you, Tony.
Good. Because it would be an awkward end to this podcast if I just suddenly burst into tears. That would be quite weird. That would not be booty right there. All right, guys, that is the end of the show. We went a bit over time. I do apologise. We're trying to get within 2 hours, but it just doesn't seem to happen some weeks. If you did enjoy this show, and I know we've got a lot of new watchers because of the Lucha Underground reviews, then leave a like, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We would love for you guys to be part of that. If you want to leave any comments, questions, feedback, responses, anything along those lines, we have multiple ways for you to do so. You can leave them in the comment section below. You can leave them on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. Matt, drop it one more time.
Or on the Twitter at TalkWrestlePod.
I just love it when you do that. Just love it when you drop it like that. It's good stuff. So there's plenty of ways to get in contact with us. Plenty of ways to ask questions that will be answered on this show. And apart from that, we hope you guys have a great week. Hope you enjoy the Lucha Underground reviews that are going out. Sometimes they come out like, for instance, this week it came out at the very end of the day. Like it went up about 11 o'clock at night. I was hoping to get them out early, but it just depends on how quick I can get them watched, reviewed, rendered, and uploaded in the same day. It's a lot of stuff to do, so it just depends on that. They will be, regardless. One thing I can promise you, they will be out every Thursday. It may be very late on a Thursday, but it will be out on a Thursday. It's just the quickest I can get it out for you guys. Apart from that, Matt, is there anything else that you wanna bring up about?
I have nothing to add.
Well, in which case we will bid our adieus. We hope you guys have a great week. We'll catch you again next time. I'm sure Fastlane is coming up. Well, we've probably still got a couple of weeks until Fastlane, haven't we? Maybe 2 weeks? 1 week?
I think so.
Regardless, we'll review it as we go along anyway. Apart from that, have a great week anyway, and we'll catch you all next time.
And we'll catch you soon.
All right then, bye bye.
All right.